empty hearts and neon lights. They're playing with my mind. Gotta get out of here tonight. Oh, I wanna run off and fly. And I'll tell myself it's fine to be alone, just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. Oh, oh, oh. I hate all this overthinking. Oh, 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 oh. The more I swim, the more I'm sinking. Take me to a world of silver. No more heartbreaks, tears, painkillers. Take me somewhere unfamiliar. Bring me back to where we started out. Get me out of now. To where we started out. Get me out of now. To where we started out. La 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 la. Oh, oh. Get me out of broken hearts and starting fights, turning truth to lies. Gotta get up, stop wasting time. Yeah, I wanna run off and fly. And I'll tell myself it's fine to be alone, just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. Oh, oh, oh. I hate all this overthinking. Oh, 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 oh. The more I swim, the more I'm sinking. Take me to a world of silver. No more heartbreaks, tears, painkillers. Take me somewhere unfamiliar. Bring me back to where we started out. Get me out of now. To where we started out. Get me out of now. To where we started out. Oh no.
I'm alone, I'm a broken home. I gave you all the bricks that I own and know. I'm letting go, I'm breaking these walls down, breaking these walls down. If you want adventure, then fly to home. But if you wanna travel, then go alone. Yeah, what's the point in us if I never know? Yeah, if you're gonna leave, I'ma let you go. I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm tired of yesterday. Harder, harder. what I tell myself, so I could feel something else. Yeah, I guess I had my bad days, but it doesn't mean I lost my style. Darling, where were you when my heart was on the ground? I thought time would prove that you would stick around. I guess time stood still, a king without his crown. Now I'm breaking and you're faking, girl. You never made a sound. I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm tired yesterday.
It's time, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Mystical Fire tournament with the last day of the playoffs. So today we're gonna crown the champion. We're gonna go for the prize pool and see who will come out on top. It's gonna be a feast. I am 100% sure of it. My name is Chris, and on my side today, this side, we got a new name and a new face, at least, in this tournament. My man Kuro Q has joined for today. Man, how are you doing?
Hello everyone, I'm super excited to be here. I'm doing well. Uh, Pretty interesting concept, so I couldn't say no to the offer when I got it. Pretty excited to see what happens today, Chris.
CERN, we know each other from Class Clash, and actually, you have a lot of experience as an analyst at the desk, but today is going to be the first time you're going to be casting mid-game. How you feel about that?
Yeah, I think being a caster at the desk is not too much experience for me. I used to coach for about 3 to 4 years on the professional level. I coached Meta Boys, for example. I used to coach Ex Oblivione back when it was during the trials, so Hypnos, and then Uscrim Esports, if you remember. I feel like those
Of
were like
course.
the rivals of Semper, or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, somewhat.
Yeah,
Somewhat.
yeah. I think we beat you in Dive Party, by the way, so that was my doing in the finals.
He's
Um,
flexing.
and yeah, so I have a bit more of a coaching background, and as you can also hear, my English is not the best. So I'm just gonna try to support Chris today on his casting journey and gonna try to give some insight from the coaching side of you.
I'm very curious to see what you'll be saying about this 6v6 because it's obviously gonna be very different. So let's talk about what happened so far in this tournament. Yesterday we had a very interesting and upsetting kickoff of the playoffs. We have already 4 teams eliminated. GG's to all of you, but of course the big bang happened in the last game of the stream where the voices are too loud actually beat the unbeaten. Ataraxia Virtus has been sent into the losers bracket and is right now waiting in the losers bracket final for the winner of the upcoming matchup, which we're going to see right now happening. Thick of It versus No Name is going to be the matchup where Thick of It is the higher seed, so they will pick the map and we'll see if they can make it through. They are slightly favoritized, but of course, no name known as something like a dark horse. They have a chance to make it through. So let's take a quick look, a really quick look on the lineups, if we can, their production. Let's take a look at Thick or Fit, a roster that is not on the stream for the first time. Let's take a look at the names. So we had, of course, Cold Skin and a very flexible Snowman. Snowman usually, has been swapping around roles between tank and support a lot. Then we have Prime and REUPLOAD on the DPS, both high GM players. And last but not least, Kyo and Saihosa. Example on the starting support for today, it seems like Typhoon is going to be benched for now. We have also seen Typhoon playing a lot in this tournament so far for them. No name though, they seem to keep it very mysterious. Even their caster sheet is a no name. There's not much known about them outside that they made it here to the top 4. So I would say before we talk around too much, the people are already waiting in the lobby for the start. So we are going to give the ready sign and we can send it in to Lijiang Tower. So what are you going to expect? We've already talked beforehand about 6v6. You've seen the number changes. You've seen the heroes. And you also know that there's usually not too much brawl to be expected. But what would you actually expect of these teams to do then? What would be beneficial on Lijiang Tower? And or maybe what would you wish for?
Okay, so I have not seen too many 6v6 games. In fact, I've seen none. So I've just gone through the numbers. I try to have a educated look on the numbers, and I'm genuinely quite impressed with what the people have been playing and what you told me. So, for example, seeing Tracer Genji back in meta is quite interesting for me. Seeing it paired with a Baptiste is quite interesting for me. So, I'm genuinely looking out for this first map as kind of like seeing where things go and what I can sort of bounce off of. I feel like from the numbers alone, I feel like Zarya is completely busted. I feel like Ball is pretty strong still. Because most of the HP numbers have gone down, and so tanks with these higher movements and higher resistances are in fact what I think is going to be strong, but we'll see.
And one of the very famous compositions that we saw throughout this entire tournament is the Ball Queen, which is going to be in place for the team of Thick of It. On the other half, we have the other iteration, which is Gozix on the Zarya, and Snowman already drops low here. We also see a little bit of a change in their lineup with Typhoon actually taking over on the tank together with Cold Skin, Snowman also in on the support. So Saihosa is going to be out at first. And Cold Skin, for some reason, gets the kill onto Vibe, and immediately Thick of It, they show us what they are capable of. The somewhat favoritized team here with a pick, but Typhoon actually kisses the floor on the other half of the map. So at least it's going to be the first team fight done.
Right, so this first team fight, we could have seen a bit of a flaw I see in the blue team's what is it again? The blue team is
Thick of It.
Thick of It. So I can see that like they are quite vulnerable to the Tracer. They don't have a natural counter to it. Genji and Echo both lose to them, so you see the Queen countering the Tracer in fact.
Well, there's Sweet from Curl, drops it very low, but the other half of the team is already dead. There's 3 people already done, and Cold Skin somehow gets the boop kill onto Sweet on Curl. So far, it is quite the wash here. 2 team fights, and they have been short and sweet, to be honest with you. Well, kind of surprising, don't you think? And Vipers off the map? Okay.
Well, I would definitely want to see No Name get a bit of a more map space. I feel like they're running in through the bridge and sending Tracer in through the bridge. Whereas I would like to see maybe develop this second lane through the white room here and send the ball on the bridge. Try to develop a bit of a more pressure, just like they're doing right now.
Lots of ults in place, Orbital Ray, Kitsune Rush, and also Mindfree gonna be thrown in. Viper, though, the first one to die here, as he was not able to evacuate the premises in time. Same goes for Benny. And even though Prime falls again, there just doesn't seem to be any escape of this team of Thick of It. They just know what to do. They win all the duels, and also many blatant mistakes done here by No Name, for example, with Viper, who seems to have a lot of hiccups.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we just saw how OP the new hero really is. I mean, Kiriko ult's just obsolete there. You could have seen that the Kiri ult versus the Orbital Ray. It's not a fair matchup, is it?
Oh, not really. No, good try here with a bubble here onto the Cassidy. There's gonna be the beat though. Counter that, but Graph immediately on it. Oh, what the hell is happening? Oh my, the Su's also perfectly timed as well. Whatever they are throwing in the ring is countered here, but still, the kills, they keep coming in for thick of it. No Name is not looking too great. They had the right game plan here. They had the right reactions, but they just don't get the proper kills here. Just a question if somehow No Name can bring it back. Viper with 2 kills here, so there's a chance to maybe bring it back. Viper's also not looking too bad in terms of the health, and also with the TP of Spip onto the point. You have some stability here. Cold Skin will make it out, but still, that's going to be the minefield deployed. Oh, a little bit unnecessary here, but almost falls off the map. Still, No Name brings it back, but 99% already gained, so Thick of It has all the time in the world.
Yeah, think of it had to play a bit slower that fight. I feel like they threw in some ults as well, whereas No Name had the no ults ready. I mean, they could have played that fight out, stalled one by one, and then came in with the ults. But we'll see how they attack right now. They have a big advantage, as you said.
Viper somehow falls off the map here again. This doesn't seem to be, oh, too confident. What a boop here on the Spip as well. So Thick of It just takes this map off their hands, like literally rips it out. There's no chance for them to really get back here. Still, both tanks are available here. Not for long though, as Gozix is already out the mech. No bomb to reset that one. Just the ball running around. I don't know what Viper has been cooking. Like, honestly, you know, we don't like to really call out players here, but it seems to be a clear disadvantage here from this ball. So there is that. That's the first map, and I have to say that's not the best map to start for No Name. I'm kind of speechless, to be honest.
I feel like the Queen is kind of the answer to the ball. I feel like whenever in Overwatch 2 we had sort of like signs of a ball meta, right? In Europe, talking now specifically. Of course, in Asia they just play whatever they want to. But like in Europe, whenever we had signs of maybe ball meta arising, always the Queen and always the Orisa were the ones to just shut that down immediately, and the devs, of course. But yeah, I feel like we saw that here as well. I mean, the Queen ball, I actually kind of like it because both have like the similar windows of aggression and disengage. But for me, the first fight where the Queen was like countering the Tracer, I feel like No Name have to take that any day of the week.
They have to. Gonna be some switch ups here. As we were talking about the Queen, there is no Queen actually on either of the teams. Gozix and Typhoon both opt for the Zarya, which is maybe a little bit more sustainable in these close quarter combats. You're gonna have a lot of charge, obviously, when your ball goes in aggressive. Tonker here on the Ashen Snowman with the first pick. Again, it's gotta be one of No Name falling first, and Viper dies immediately after because REUPLOAD is just lurking around the corner looking at the ball. If he drops low, then sends in the beam, gets the free kill here pretty much essentially, and Thick of It with another very, well, decisive team fight here, and Prime just tries to get the kill somehow onto Benny, and Benny is in the end gonna drop off the map with Thick of It taking this first point for now here on Night Market.
Right, so you have to think, who are these bubbles for from No Name? I mean, they had the Ash and Cassidy. I mean, you are not bubbling either of those. You're only going to counter dive, and with Kiriko Lucio, your style is kind of extremely mixed. It cannot be even considered a hybrid comp. It's just a dysfunctional comp, in my opinion. I'm very much like the Genji Echo better because the bubbles on them are way higher value. Now we see the Hog.
Oh, Hawk, yeah, indeed. It's also not too atypical. We've seen some teams actually whipping out the Hawk, and especially to go against the ball here. You still have a lot of pick potential here. That is a fantastic grab. Would you look at that? How massive that one was. Typhoon picks up a 3K, actually a 4K with Kokobongo added to this list. What a wash so far. Lijiang Tower is, well, an absolute madness, but Thick of It, we have been already expecting them to come out big, but this big? I didn't, at least.
I mean, it's the same problem they had on the previous map, sorry.
Garden.
Garden, yeah. They are walking in to prove one lane against this comp where it's so easy to, like, you know, boop them around, use one ult and gain, like, extreme advantage. Like, you can see just the Orbital Ray and now the Blade going crazy from Prime. I mean, it's exactly what I'm talking about. It's 2 ults and it's a team wipe, and you can't really do anything. They need to take more space, they need to take more angles. You know, if we're doing an ult fight, like, make them use at least 2, 3. They use just one, and it's such a big value here for Thick of It.
Ray also gonna be sent in here. REUPLOAD ready for the copy. We see Orion Zarya also coming out here. An additional Zarya also for thick of it here. The beat gonna keep REUPLOAD alive for a little bit. The copy at least. Prime was also stuck inside of that graph. Is gonna be taken out immediately. So there might be a chance now for No Name to push it in. Of course, Viper goes in aggressive, but realizes how weak he drops here with 3 people looking at him. There's just not too much you can tank right here. Still, that's fighting back now with REUPLOAD dead though. There should be a chance for No Name to finally bring it back. Let's hope that this time the Viper doesn't fall off the map. But, well, he didn't fall off the map. Instead, he's gonna be dead. Ghosix is dead again. Look at
All
that.
1 HP.
It looked so winnable for the likes of No Name, but
Oh, man.
somehow Thick of It brings it back.
That is just yeah. You know, if I'm No Name's coach here, I mean, I'm just calling the hard reset here. Like, I feel like the macro was not really on point. I didn't like the, as I said, just like walking through one choke and trying to do something. We saw it on the last fight. They used basically all of their advantage. They were building the whole game, and they managed to win the fight. But then they overextend against a team that's disengaging. I mean, it's just a major mistake, I think, from the side of No Name here.
I got maybe a little bit too greedy, and especially against Thick of It, you cannot just do what you just did. You saw the result. They got squashed here 2-0. A fantastic start for Thick of It. That also brings them in the match point position. So when Thick of It wins the next match, they're gonna proceed in the losers bracket. No Name will be eliminated from the tournament, but also will take home actually some prize money because there's only 4 teams now in the tournament, and the top 4 get money. So it's just about the size of that bag that you're gonna get after this. But of course, Thick of It is looking great right now for third place. No Name. Well, they have to step up big time for the next map, which they are going to pick. Well then, Kuro, I know that was a very hard pill to swallow of a game. 100% agreed. But what map pick would you like to see from No Name?
Right, so I'm guessing they can pick the mode as well, right?
Yeah, they can. Outside of control.
Yes, so I would definitely go for some maybe a bit longer maps. We see them pivot to the Cash Ash on Night Market, which is definitely not ideal. Not a lot of long sidelines there. We do see a Widow there sometimes, but not in the 6v6. You know, you have to think a bit more like, okay, there's an off tank in the game that can counter both my DPS. Well, I should probably pick different DPS, right? And Ball is one of them. If your Ash is trying to set up an angle, then your Cass has to walk the other one. Otherwise, they do the same job. And if you're actually sitting alone, then the ball has like the easiest time in the world just picking that off. Same goes for the Genji and Echo. I mean, it was just a complete counter comp in my opinion. And as I already said during the map, the Zarya bubbling a Genji or an Echo is much higher value than bubbling a Cassidy or an Ashe. So I feel like just like the compositional mistakes from the starts were there. If I'm the coach of No Name, I mean, I have to like go back go back to the crafting bench and see what I can do because that really was not it in my opinion.
Well, and as we were talking, actually the next map has been chosen. What do you think about Eichenwalde?
Yeah, so that's actually what I was kind of talking about. One of these longer maps. When I'm looking at the map pool, it's one of the maps with the longer sightlines. Obviously, except for Escort, I'm kind of surprised I didn't pick Escort. To be honest, with Zarya Ball could have been pretty nice, but yeah, Eichenwalde I think it's pretty decent first point. I mean, if I'm thick of it, I'm definitely choosing to attack first here. Um, but we'll see how
Oh,
they
well, look
choose
at
it.
that. It's exactly what you just said. They have just picked attack aside.
Yeah, right. It's because Likovic has been playing like an aggressive Overwatch, and the mistake No Name has been making all game is just walking through one choke and hoping for the best. If you can, on your attack, comfortably secure like 2 to 3 points, and then that they are walking just through one choke, doing this all and all like over and over, you can definitely bank a decent size time. Time on the first point, and then kind of just play out the map, right? I feel like the biggest mistake or the biggest hurdle No Name is going to have to overcome is this first point, because on the second one the map is a bit more open, there are a bit more opportunities to walk through different chokes, but on the first one that's what we saw them struggle on with Lijiang and their first map.
Yeah, the choke point control. We have said it, we have seen it also in action. And I'm really curious to see if this is really the time to shine. It has to be the time to shine, right? No Name doesn't want to be eliminated. Just like that as well, like being absolutely flattened, a thick of it, that is certainly not what you like to see. And well, the difference of styles, we see them between those two teams. And Eichenwalde is just a jiffy away. And we'll see if there's going to be some differences in picks. I would assume so. They has to come a little bit from No Name. I would say thick of it. Well, they are feeling themselves. I would really say that there's not going to be too much diversion of the strat. It is also not really necessary as well either on this map because they can close the distance pretty easily with their fast-paced comp they are playing. So let's see. Eichenwalde is up next. And yeah, in about 20 seconds, we'll see what the teams will be picking. See also if there's a change in roster, but it doesn't seem to be. Both teams still rocking the same roster. Also, Typhoon, Snowman are still in. It seems like Typhoon is also still sticking to the tank. Don't be confused by the position up top. I think we just changed it up. Yeah, Snowman is going to be on the support, Typhoon back on the tank. And of course, no surprise here to see a Cold Skin again on the ball, who has been the ball expert all along for this team of Thick of It in the entire tournament. But we see something maybe different coming out of the team on the left, which is the No Name. Kokobongo on the Zarya, but is Benyesh? No, it's Sweet Tonker actually the one that will go for the Ryan. I've been talking about Ryan Zarya not being actually a thing in this tournament, and would you look at that? That's exactly what we're going to see. Very brawly instead. How would you rate that?
I think it's actually horrible. I mean, this was one of the biggest fears I had going into this, that people are just gonna play this for the sake of nostalgia. I feel like Ryan Zarya into Ball, like Ball is just like he captures both the heroes. He can just ignore them completely. Who is Zarya getting charged on? And there we go, the shot on the Viper.
Well, this map has been absolutely fresh. Just a hook shot of Prime. That this pop shot would actually work, that's usually something you don't see too often. Here, though, it does happen. And immediately, No Name, they get stunned upon losing this Moira so early and thick of it. Well, they are not taking any prisoners whatsoever. They go forward. They will take this first point in such a fast manner that we can't even conclude our prior analysis, our prognosis. Just everything is out of the window. Thick of It is already through.
I mean, if you're gonna play the Ryan Zarya against the Ball, you cannot go with Moira. You need the burst healing to defend against those dives and then sustain, not something that is gonna sustain you for a longer period of time like the Moira. You need something with the burst healing or a burst sustain like the Kiri, like the Bab with the lamp and stuff. But the Moira just, in my opinion, is gonna be really tough here.
Still, there's a little bit of a resistance showing off, because a good thing that Ryan Zarya can do, of course, is protect those choke points. As long as these two just together, Suiton Girl and Kokobongo the ones, there's also going to be a Shatter ready. Colskin dies early, it's going to be the Shatter laid down. We go aggressive here in the terms of No Name, but they don't really get a kill off of that, so that Shatter might have been an overcommitment here, just well defended of Thick of It. But for now, that's the magic right here. With that composition you have, you just need to make sure that they don't really have access to the backline, while Cold Skin and Rep6 are taking the advantage here. But there's going to be the copy now from Rep6 onto the Zarya, so gonna have an additional Zarya here on the field. Sweet Tonker is already dead, and now with this brawl, at first not looking too bad. Once they got access onto your backline and once the kills happen, well, the entire team collapses, and now you are through this choke point, and that will take a very different approach now.
I mean, you say gain access to the backline. I feel like this is like cracking your grandma's Wi-Fi code, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're in. The Ball has genuinely no problems getting through. You just saw him drive past with the bubble on, and that's basically it. He's in the backline now. Your allies are looking at the Ball. Meanwhile, Genji spamming you, Echo spamming you, and then it's just so easy for the Ball to get in. I really don't know what No Name are going to do here.
Maybe they could try something like Ataraxia did yesterday, but that didn't work, where they went all counter for the Ball. There was a Sombra, a Cassidy pick. At some point, they were even rocking the Hog. There were many things they were doing, and there's going to be a very ambitious orbital array that can just be kited by Thick of It.
Yeah,
You can
real
see
play.
that they just don't care at all, and instead Repsix is still going to get a kill onto Gozix for some reason. So now they want to speed in. Cocobongo's already in, but of course, now there's going to be the chance with a blade, also immediately bubble. Do you find a target? You can also find a second one to the Sweet Don't Girl, while the rest of the team is already dead in the thick of it. That's going to be the second point cap with ease.
Yes, I mean that's a bit too many ults in my opinion. I feel like if you're thick of it, you're feeling a bit more confident there, but can be hard getting through this last sort of holding point on this map. I mean, we can just, yeah. I don't know. Do you remember what I said about Reinzaria at the start?
Yeah, I do. A good old nostalgia kick. Also not being too good with Moira, and look at that. That's the thing, right? You also need to get used to the tanks not having too much HP, so you're gonna explode a little bit quicker as long as you don't have your off tank actually helping you out. And remember, Cocobongo on his Zarya can only use one bubble on Ryan. We have still the old style cooldowns. Oh, there was a shattered temper. Look at that. Nothing in front. There was a bubble. Immediately a tree set down too. So no name just swinging for the fences. Can they even find something? He tries to go after the Genji Prime. Just getting so much heals. Now the tree is gone. There's going to be a Mei ultimate attempt at least. But everybody just kites it. I don't know what's happening into No Name. It doesn't really seem like they have any game plan right here. Everything they are just throwing into the ring is just getting countered by Thick of It with the easiest things.
I mean, how good are Thick of It though? By the way, like that kind take is insane. I feel like I would, with my team, they used to like make it on top of European ladder, and we would practice that for like months, and they just kiting every single the mailed. They kiting like 2 shatters didn't hit. The graph was kited. The ray at on the second point, like their kiting is so good, and it's because their team comp is so fast. And even if someone is left behind, they still have that Zarya bubble ready. uh, I mean, I can see the strength of this point. Like again, this map is basically the third point at least is like one long lane, right? I mean, not very like a long sideline for the snipers, but like it's just like one choke that you have to move through. And so if you're throwing ultimates, as long as you kite them, then it's pretty easy to re-entry into there, right? We saw the Mei ult. Once you kite it, it's pretty very hard to win. Then we see the graph in response grabs 4, and I mean that's just fine done.
So interesting to see this variation of KO with the Life Weaver, even though I'm not sure if it's just for the memes or if there's actually a game plan behind it. But you as an expert, now that you're seeing the 6v6, and of course you know the game way better than most of us here, what is your take on the Life Weaver here?
I think it's actually just for the memes. I'm just gonna
Alright.
be honest. I mean,
Alright.
he was dropping the tree to block the shatter, and I think he even succeeded at one point. I feel like it's against Ryan's area. I can kind of see it working. I feel like it would be better against something like the dive. You know, when I talked about the burst healing, that's exactly, or like burst protection, I should say. Maybe that's exactly what the life Weaver provides, right? He dashes, he can fly up, he can pull someone. That's exactly what I would maybe see more into the ball instead of the Ryan's area. I feel like Kyo's just having fun here.
And maybe who isn't too fun here is going to be the Hawk, for some people at least. So Typhoon with a little switch up here. We don't see the Zarya here. They're just going to have some fun. And Sweet Don't Go. Well, we'll take the Echo, but of course the Echo can just fly up. And now your position isn't exactly too ideal, but the bubble comes in time still. Now it's broken. Now his shield is also broken. Typhoon just fighting for his life. Behind that wall is also getting chased by many members, and they will get run down here in the end, but they lose Cocobongo on the way in. Still looking for some targets, but now that's the thing. That's the mobility. Now it's also the high ground provided by the Petal platform. So it seems like the first point is going to fall for now, but there might be a chance for a re-engage, because you also see Vinny and Sutonker actually dying in front. Is anyone going to make it? No, Colts can actually get stopped before with that disruptor shot. And that's it. That's actually the first point already gone. And you see Typhoon immediately swapping away from the Hog.
That's why I don't really like Life Weaver into the Ryan Zarya. Obviously, he's maybe just having fun. We're gonna see them swap right now, but you saw him just backing off into that one corridor where the Life Weaver can pretty much do nothing, right? You can't pull anyone because there are walls all around you, and you can maybe heal 1 or 2 guys from there, but yeah, the sidelines, they're very limited.
I'm not sure about that. He definitely bit off a little bit too much here. Definitely couldn't shoot that one. Coldskin though dies on the other side. There is the Mei ultimate. Kyo is caught in that. but is in no position to be finished off. Instead, Gozik's gonna go in with that overclock, actually gets a kill onto Snowman. So for now, it seems like the memeing time is over. No Name has gotten a grasp onto the match, and, well, they have to figure out what to do here. Lots of bullying, of course, going around with those boops coming in from Cold Skin, but not really anything from that. And now it's up to push towards that second point, but of course, there's gotta be a chance to re-engage. And there's a minefield.
Yeah, they've gone for the brawl here. I'm seeing it as kind of interesting because you have the Soldier and Mei, whereas if you're going for something like the brawl, I would maybe see a Cassidy instead, you know, to counter the Echo and the Genji, who, in my personal opinion, have been the main issue this series for No Name. I feel like we're gonna see. No, actually, okay, Gozix doesn't swap the Soldier, which I would maybe prefer to.
Sombra. I see. Maybe they want to disable Cold Skin that way, and EMP also could be something here. It's gonna be the copy though from REUPLOAD because he didn't want to die. But Viper will go back to the team just to get squashed immediately by Private. Private pulls out the blade, gets countered here. They act somewhat caught in there. Oh, what a huge one here! It's gonna be hit though. The purple is massive, but the beat immediately from Benny to counter that. Nonetheless, the kills, they keep coming in. I don't know why that keeps happening for No Name. There are some fights where they find a very good answer to whatever Thick of It is throwing at them, but then they don't really make anything out of it.
I forgot how crazy like ultimates are in a 6v6. I mean, we just saw a 4-man shatter, 5-man grab, then we saw a billion-man queen ult. I mean, it's just insane. And as a caster, now that I'm just doing this for the first time, I cannot keep up. I can't tell you what's happening in these fights.
Yeah, that's the thing with the 6v6. Of course, there's more people to keep track of, more pace that you can play with the playmaking potential of the tank line here. Well, there's also going to be more playstyle coming in. The Sweet Curl is going to take the Baptiste of the enemy team for a ride. So No Name is still in this, but they have lost a few themselves. Coldskin, though, is going to drop low. And there's also the Cassidy that you've been calling here in the brawl. Has been working quite fine, just as I was caster cursing him, though, before he gets finished off by REUPLOAD. Still, that's going to be a fight win for now for the likes of... Wait a minute. Kokobongo, what are you doing? Snowman gets the kill here.
Oh my god. I feel like I should charge a provision here. I mean, I'm basically giving them like answers to their combs, but like... Oh, never mind. He's off to chunk now. I don't mind. Yeah.
I guess, yeah. There was the try at least from Viper. I think there's also a little bit of desperation speaking when you swap your hero that many times and nothing seems to be working that much. Oh, the shout that will save Typhoon and Sweet Curl. There's no chance for you to survive there, brother. So that's gonna be that. Down to less than 2 minutes still. Viper's dead again. And also, are they staggering Kokobongo? I wasn't sure there for a minute. I think No Name is kind of losing composure at this point. When they really shouldn't, but also the Rhine Queen? I mean, is that really just... Is that really coincidence or something like... Oh, well, let's try something, or is there a plan after that?
Yeah, both these tanks want to do a different thing. I'm never gonna see these tanks together, probably, because the strong engage of the Queen, you can just see, like, she can go in so fast. And what's the Rhine gonna do? He's gonna pin in. I mean, in my opinion, these two tanks just don't do like what No Name is expecting of them, you know. I feel like, and especially with the chunk, I mean, I feel like all macro is out the window and we're just hoping for the best at this point.
Yeah, I really think that is. What a massive play there from Typhoon. One of the best rampages we've seen all tournament, so that's a big one. At least No Name makes it now into the castle. They would have a shatter here. If anyone wants to follow, they could maybe go for a pick off here. Need to find a target. Suitonker is waiting for the chance, but there's nothing really. Now he is going to go in. And also many more ultimates gonna be used here, especially the tank ultimates. Gozik's also around with the overclock. Kokobongo trying to chase down Typhoon, who's gonna make it to the Mega. On the other side, Gozix is gonna get shut down there, and there's the Junkrat finally paying dividends. Goldskin with 2 kills though here. There's gonna be the shatter attempt. He gets spooked away. There is gonna be actually the kill secured onto Goldskin, but Prime's Blade gonna be a little bit too strong still. A chance for No Name to stabilize, but they are lacking some healing here. It seems like Viper is dead here. Kokobongo tries to go into Snowman, who just kites that Queen perfectly. And now we're down to just 10 seconds. Can the likes of No Name even make it to the card? If so, they have to wait for Kokobongo to make it. But can they even touch? They cannot! Thick of It makes it through a 2-0, a very convincing one. We saw two different sides of the coin. So much skill, so much plan in this team of Thick of It versus a no-name that at some point just threw everything, including the kitchen sink.
I mean, I was gonna talk about it. I didn't expect the game to end, to be honest, but I mean it did. And I also want to talk about the Ryan Queen again. You saw exactly what I was like speaking about. They use beat, the Ryan charges in, and where's the Queen? I mean, they're chasing the same target, but they have such a mobile comp. Think of it. They can just disengage, play a bit slower. Obviously, they maybe lose one or two because no name used basically everything they had, and they lose one or two, but they can still play the slow game. They can disengage. They can play angles. They can wait for respawns and go in again. And that's why I don't really rate the Ryan Queen. But I mean, as we just saw this series, I really like the mobile comps that we've been talking about, and I feel like Ball for me at least is probably going to be a mainstay in this meta at least. And I feel like the off tank is where the variation comes in. I really like the Zarya with the Genji Echo. I feel like it's really hard to play any kind of hit scan into that because you obviously have the ball and Genji like tracking them down. And if you have two hit scan, it's probably kind of tough to have solid point control. Otherwise, you're going to end up doing what No Name ended up doing, which is just sending everyone to the point and hoping for the best, which is why and when we saw only one ultimate from Thick of It getting so much value.
Yep. And with this very convincing match here, very fast one. I'm kind of sad for you that you got to see this kind of match that was very quick and also very. We have to say it. It was one-sided at this point with Thick of It coming out on top, which still means congratulations to No Name to making it to the top four, so they are eligible to some prize money. GG's. They're gonna be eliminated unfortunately from the tournament, but for Thick of It, the true struggle now begins. They might have a shot at the grand final if they can make it through Ataraxia Virtus in the losers bracket final, which is going to be the next match coming up. So we're going to send you to a break. We're going to set up the match, see if we can get the teams into the lobby, and then we'll see who will make it into the grand final. Can Ataraxia Virtus get a rematch against The Voices Are Too Loud, or is Thick of It going to do the next upset of the tournament? See you in a bit, guys.
I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only one. No one likes being lied to. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I wanna burn all the bridges between us. I can't focus, I can't forget. I've been thinking too much lately. I just need to clear my head. I just need to clear my head. I've been stuck on your memory, but it's not like I need it. And we may have some history, but we don't have to repeat it. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I'm gonna burn all the bridges between us. I can't focus, I can't forget. I've been thinking too much lately. I
And I've been chillin', watching the ocean with you. Baby, up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our cloudlands when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the mall soon. I know she got the good vibes when seasons change, but we're the same. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding. And I'll be running, possessed by a low, low voodoo. Fired up like a wolf on a full moon. And we're stuck in a la la land. The tides will turn without us. And I'll be killing time like I might be a cartoon. Take it in real life like haiku. I know we got the good vibes when pieces fall right into place. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding. Play me like a bass guitar. Simmer down and mash me up. Tripping like I'm Jimmy at Woodstock. Drive me around in your red Ford. Shivers down my spinal cord. Oh, 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 oh. 'Cause you got me holding, holding. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't
let me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you let me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you let me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you let me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you let me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you let me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? Now you're dealing in diamonds. Don't you see that I'm shining? 'Cause when you let me, baby, you are getting everything. Now you're dealing in diamonds. Don't you see that I'm shining? 'Cause when you let me, baby, you are getting everything. 'Cause when you let me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you let me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you let me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you let me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you let me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you let me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you let me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you let me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? So why is it so hard to let you go? To let you go. So why is it so hard to let you go? To let you go. So why is it so hard to let you go? Let you go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And, one very handsome man has been replaced with a slightly less handsome man. I know, I'm here with Kuro. What can I say? That's just what I do. Was here yesterday, and I'm glad to be covering the lower finals with Kuro. Now, we just saw the thick of it playing. I say we. You just saw the thick of it playing. And how strong was their performance?
I mean, it's kind of, you know, if you're playing rock paper scissors, I feel like Likovic were rock and No Name were, wait, what does rock beat? Scissors. I feel like they were
Gotcha.
scissors. So it
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
it was just easy. They win 100% of the time. I can never see scissors beating the rock. So I think that's what I would describe it to.
Wow. I mean, a dominating performance there, but now they sort of have to face up against Ataraxia Virtus, the favourites in this tournament. Now they did get quite unceremoniously knocked down to the losers bracket yesterday in a bit of an upset. That being said, they have had a day to recover. They've had a day to sort of focus up, and I think that they should be good to come back into this. Now, what was the main style of Thick of It? Because obviously noticing that in the 6v6 mode, these teams are going to be trying slightly different styles, slightly different tank picks. So there was a lot yesterday. I saw a lot of Junker Queen with Azaria, and then also a Bull Sigma, Bull Diva compositions. What was Thick of It predominantly going for?
Okay, so the thick of it had pretty much anchored the ball, the Genji, and the Echo, and they never really changed these heroes. As well as with the, what's the newest hero called?
Juno.
Juno, as well with Juno. See, I didn't coach the game
Oh,
in Juno with Juno yet, so, and I probably never will. But yeah, they just kept changing the off tank. They kept changing the main support, but the main support only because Kyo just wanted to have a bit more fun. I feel like he played Life Weaver.
hmm.
The off tank was interesting though. They played Zarya and they played Queen, and the Queen on Gardens was amazing in my opinion because it completely countered the playstyle of No Name. So I'll be expecting another heavy dive style from Thick of It here.
I mean, that and also Queen is just really good right now, right? With the changes to Orisa, but Juno still being quite prevalent, a lot of teams have swapped over to the Junker Queen style, and it's been getting them a lot of success. So not only is Queen good in the 5v5, but also the 6v6 as well, right? You know, when you have your other tank on the field, well, why not just shout and give them an extra, 75 HP to get aggressive and go in? So Lijiang Tower is going to be the first map. Um, Think of it as you say, they did have that Queen style yesterday, which worked out quite well for them. Ataraxia Virtus, of course, they end up going to Samoa, I believe, and it was a little bit of it was a little bit of a struggle for them. They couldn't really deal with Simonizer. They couldn't deal with Simonizer's Wrecking Ball. Let's see if that's just a Simonizer differential or if the Wrecking Ball is just something that, this team can't really figure out.
hmm I mean, if they can't figure out the ball, then I'm really worried for Ataraxia because Uh, Flikovic played an amazing ball composition in my opinion, and all the picks on their team basically complemented the ball really well, which is another thing I think No Name struggled with a little bit more with the team composition. Kind of, they had different pieces doing different things, but Flikovic's comp was very straightforward, just like one play style, keeping it simple.
Exactly, and fear not the man who's practiced 1,000 punches, but the man who has practiced one punch 1,000 times, right? So if you're just going with the Wrecking Ball style and you've just been practicing that over and over again for the thick of it, then you have to have some credit on that composition. You have to be very confident in it. Junkrat pick is going to be coming out from Days Drox. This could make things a little chaotic in these close quarter environments.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm definitely looking out for the Ana from Gala. I mean, with the right off angle here, the ball can have a really hard time because he obviously cannot be looking everywhere at the same time. Now we're gonna see everyone in the white room here duking it out.
An early engage from Lazy, of course, enabled with the bubble. He's going to give Guatemala a little bit of energy, an opportunity to walk forward here, to take some more space. You use these bubbles properly on the Zarya, and then the damage will come. That being said, Guatemala is put in a really rough position, and think of it just going to be bouncing back off the initial aggression coming out from Ataraxia Virtus to clean up the fight.
This first push from Ataraxia was amazing though. They got exactly what they needed for the Ana. They got all the space. I mean, I wanted to maybe see Gala rotating up a bit sooner with his DPS as well. But we didn't. They stayed in the white room and then eventually got overwhelmed. A bit of a mistake there, and let's see what happens on the second attempt.
Yeah, and Daysdrox has had enough of the silly Junkrat shenanigans, right? You can see the difference in the Typhoon ult charge and the Guatemalteco ult charge. Just feeding that Zarya energy with those nades is going to be so simple. Lazy has to be careful not to get poked out before the engage. It's going to look for a hit now. The Cold Skins might be a bit better. That's able to keep the Ataraxia Virtus DPS back. And then, again, staying up in the fight, rolling through, creating a lot of chaos. And a grab invested from Typhoon just charging that up so quickly.
The slam there from the ball was a little ridiculous there in the tight space, but yeah, as you say, the graph is pretty good, but Gala committed the nano. I mean, I feel like I would like to see Atraxa playing a little bit more slow, you know, edge the space. I mean, okay, maybe I shouldn't say that on a couch. Anyway,
Pause.
he's off to Batiste now.
Yeah, I mean, the BAP, you can just have a little bit more sort of carry potential. It doesn't really synergize that well with the rest of your composition. It's going to be an early Juno ultimate from Snowman, a phenomenal ult. You combine that with the overclock from Prime. You can see the tanks have been forced out of the fight. It's actually Cold Skin that ends up going down. Like, there was a lot of aggression from Thick of It, but it seems like they were able to kite properly, and maybe Cold Skin just overset their boundaries a little bit, getting greedy for a kill. Blade out from Taniki as well. We've seen him make magic with it in the past, but today it's not going to happen. That being said, trading out onto Typhoon, it's going to be a big deal. Wacko has a grab, can invest it. Mines are going to be dropped, and they're really good from Cold Skin. Daze Drox doesn't have a lot of ability, is going to be going down. Meantime, Rebsy duplicates the Genji, builds a blade of their own, slices that Zarya down to size. There's a rally on the point as well. You can see just the chaos that happens when you have so many people, so many numbers on the point, but you have two healers for the side of Ataraxia Virtus, so you're going to be a lot more stable, at least until the tanks are able to get back from the thick of it, and they are going to be able to do that, and Taniki is taken out of the fight as quickly as they were taken out the first time round, and the trades, as we get to 90% on the point, are just better for the thick of it.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, if I had to coach right now after this map, I don't know what just happened. I am clueless. There's so many people, I feel like there's like 30 people.
Yeah, I mean, close enough, right? And the engage is going to be very, very strong. I mean, you did invest some Desperation Ultimates, a Deadeye and a Window from the side of Ataraxia Virtus, but you were forced to touch in a really rough position, and because of that, you couldn't actually get value from those ults. You just had to toss them out, you know, all willy-nilly. And so suddenly, we're looking at Ataraxia Virtus. Again, remember, the prior favorites of this tournament, down 1-0 in Lijiang.
I feel like a big part of that place that Gala is not really allowed on the Illari here against the ball Zarya, right? Illari becomes pretty much unplayable against that because you can just push her out straight with the Zarya, or you can deny the off angle with the ball. And Takeover have been playing Genji Echo the whole game. Last map they played Sojourn Echo, so maybe a bit of a shift there. But even if you know they stayed on the Genji Echo, Illari becomes pretty much unplayable. So we saw him having to swap to buff, which is also his like really good hero, right? But yeah, maybe that's a bit of discomfort caused by the composition is something that's been playing a part here.
And now you can see they're making an adjustment. They're trying to enable this poke style better by having a Sigma and an Illari. If you can get positioning on the point Ataraxia Virtus, you're in a strong position. You may not even need it actually. You're able to catch thick of it, rotating, but rotating surprisingly slowly considering they have both a Lucio and a Juno in the mix, and you just sort of shoot them in the back as they're walking.
That was a major mistake from Cold Skin. He basically went through the entire enemy team but doing absolutely nothing, which is the worst thing you can do on a ball. And yeah, pretty much exposed their whole team, opened it up for the side of Virtus Ataraxia, and yeah.
Yeah, speed is key for the thick of it here. If they are able to utilize, again, you have two characters that can speed boost the entire team. If you're able to use that to get yourself positioning on the point, you can cause some problems for the Ataraxia Virtus side. But in this case, you're actually just trying to sort of take a head-on brawly fight, which might not work in your favor when there's a Sigma in the field. And you can see how low this Zarya is getting chunked down before the fight even begins, and Prime Rebsy going to be taken out. Stray Deadeye catches onto Snowman too. Another fight cleanup for the Ataraxia Virtus side. And they seem to be, I mean, again, Thick of It seems to be playing a bit too slow for my liking.
This rotation is extremely difficult into the Illari because you have a perfect pylon setup, you have the whole lane open to you, and there are basically like close to no off angles, right? The ball has been trying this whole game to get around, but the longer it takes, the more damage he takes, and the longer his team stays open, right? So this Illari has been a major factor here.
Yeah, and Rebsy just flies a bit too close to the sun there. Gala happy to take him out. Typhoon thinks this is winnable. I'm investing the grab. It's able to get two, so it's a 4v4 fight. Beat has to match out the orbital rate online and a blade out from Prime. You have all of the HP from that sound barrier to just get yourself to slash on these supports and these DPS, you're finally going to get a point cap for thick of it, but very firmly in one fight territory. I mean, I say that you get the cap, but Lazy comes in, is able to pop the minefield, and you're able to get some late stagger kills, but Prime has been doing some work on this Genji in this fight.
He has, and the Genji is, I think, the key to victory here. Is still a pretty good hero into the Cass, into the Illari, into the Juno. See, I'm learning here. I feel like the Tracer though is a good answer into the Genji and into the ball as well. Something that can pressure the point a little bit more and chase the ball around. As I said before already, Coldskin has been going on these flanks, going basically straight through for the Illari. Tracer is something that can match that playstyle and maybe answer.
Had to be a gravitic flux from Guatemalteco. It did some damage, but put him in a really weird position. And the boop comes out from Lazy. It's not able to get anyone off the map. It's just a little bit cosmetic, and they end up giving their life in the process. You can see even in these lost fights, Gala is still just fragging out of control, like it's just like a pugs match. But that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of the fight.
Yeah, I think that just comes down to the individual skill, but when we talk about the macro, I really liked how Ataraxia Virtux are playing these fights, you know. Lazy has been... Coldskin has been going in, as I said, like 4 times already. He's going in too fast. I feel like you need to let your DPS develop the lane a little bit before you go on these flanks.
Another grab, but this time the Captive Son gets a lot more value. He's able to stick up a lot of members from the side of thick of it. Bubbles are being used relatively well to try and stymie some of the bleeding, and these fights in 6v6 are just so chaotic, right? That's a perfect, picture-perfect bubble from Typhoon to save life of Goldskin. Lazy is forced to use the minefield, which actually gets Keo. Keo was the first one to be picked in this fight, gets right back, taken out by another minefield as well, and Gala's back in. You know this guy can click heads up there with the best of them, as Rebsy has learned the hard way for so much of this point. 97% on the point. You really need a touch, and it is going to come through from Coldskin, but Daysdrops is being sped with the high noon. The walking turret ends up finding its mark, and onto... The walking turret finds its mark, and onto Zarya as well. 3 in the fight for Daysdrops. What are you doing, big lad?
Extremely well played. I really like the timing on the Deadeye as well. And yeah,
All tied up 1-1.
Sorry, that's gonna be it. I was also gonna say how there was this one fight where Ataraxia Virtus used only the solar beam or orbital ray, I think it's called, whatever, the big thing coming from the sky, right? And and Dikovic had to use a bunch of ults. I think they eventually ended up winning that fight, but that was a major turning point definitely in this map. Once you have these 90 to 90% fights, these one fights that like shift the economy of the fight is something that we as coaches are looking for in the VOD reviews. So maybe that's something to discuss now as we are in the spawn for the next 10 seconds.
Yeah. For anyone who's not familiar with Kuro's game, top 1 coach of all time, the savior of Poland, led them to victory in several matchups with the Meta Boys, as you do. Just he won't mention it, but you know he's just like a natural genius like that, and he's going to be giving some great insight on. Fair play. He's going to be giving some insight into this game as we see the initial hits coming through from these teams. Again, you want to play a little more slow when you have the Sigma on your side, and in this case, you're actually going to be trading tank for a healer. That's an interesting trade, and when there's another tank on the field, that's not necessarily always in the favor of the healer. Unless Prime just has something to say about it. I mean, Prime's Genji has looked sublime thus far in this map.
Prime's been looking great. I also maybe want to point out a little bit that with the Sigma, you actually want to play a bit faster than you would with the Zarya, because with the shield you're looking to get way more space.
Well, maybe a little too fast there, right? When Guatemalteco tries to go in, gets booped off the map, and it's a hell of a thing to get used to. You can see the desperation now. Guatemalteco has had enough of Coldskin's business going to be going over to the Roadhog. In 5v5, a little bit of a troll pick. In 6v6, actually had some very good anti-dive value.
Especially against the D.Va and the ball, it's going to be pretty good for poke and getting a bit more space. Obviously, you're not maybe going to get these pickles against the D.Va, but you're looking to get this space exactly. But the minefield is perfect from Lazy, or from Coldskin, sorry. I keep confusing them.
I mean, yeah, it is a perfect use of the minefield. It splits off Guatemala from the rest of the roster. That being said, the cap was able to go the way of Ataraxia Virtus in the meantime. The captive son from Gala was able to find its mark, at least to help get the kill onto Snowman, but mirrored orbital rays. Polos comes out a bit later, seems to be getting a little more value. Rebsy's actually going to be duplicating a Juno of their own, and if you can charge up this orbital ray, that would be phenomenal for you, but you're not able to. Gala's back in the fight, able to deal some damage. Nice Matrix from Typhoon, is able to save the life of Rebsy, but only for a little bit longer. Guatemalteco is eventually able to find the mark, as is Gala. You can see Coldskin rolling through here, trying to get some more value, but remember, the first pick in this fight, it went the way of Thick of It, but the flip came through anyway for Ataraxia Virtus, and they've capitalized off it phenomenally.
And again, this is the huge fight we were talking about. And now as well, the Hog, with this space, he's going to be so good at holding these angles. I mean, he's just going to be walking forward, hooking a tank, and then opening up the rest of the team for Lazy to get some pickups, to disrupt the enemies.
That's a beat from Keo. Seems to be there to match the use of Gala. Daysdrox ends up falling to thin air, the voices in his head, I suppose. And I mean, off the back of that initial pick, you're going to be more than happy. I mean, what killed Daysdrox there?
That was so well played from Thick of It. I mean, just the way they took the space and extremely fast. That's exactly what you have to do against the Hawk. You have to just go past him, bypass him, and make sure he doesn't hook anyone. But in case he does, Typhoon is there with the Matrix. Exceptional fight here, and the ult economy is looking quite good for Thick of It as well. We're approaching 60% now. This is where these ults really have to shine through for Ataraxia.
Coldskin gets caught out. Matrix was there from Typhoon, but it didn't quite cover the angle that Coldskin was playing on, and the minefields are going to be largely ineffectual. Now it's a 5v4 with Gala being taken down, but the number advantage still firmly in favor of Ataraxia Virtus. They're looking to get the first cap on this point, but it is going to be forced to 75%. Firmly one fight territory for both of these teams. This is the final fight to determine who wins on this map, but Prime and Typhoon come back in, plus there's an orbital ray out from Snowman. It's going to enable Prime's blade to be even more deadly than it normally is. Lazy is going to be contesting for a little bit longer, is going to be fell, but now this is the key. Uncontested orbital ray from Polo.
Thick of It needed to play a bit slower, either full commit for the 90% on or regroup and then re-engage. Now Ataraxia Virtus find themselves with 94%, which is pretty good. They also have the ult advantage here. It's gonna be really hard for Thick of It unless this happens.
But you get 2 picks before the fight even begins, right? Lazy also still has the minefield, can dunk it on the point. Guatemalteco is not having fun right now, just relying on the healing of the pylon and I'm sorry, Taniki? Duplicating the Genji, getting the blade online, catching 5 in this fight single-handedly, and now we're at 95%. I mean, who could actually touch here from the side of Thick of It? What?
Okay, well.
What?
I mean, there you go. That's your play of the tournament, at least for me. I mean, that was at least 5 kills from Taniki there.
Bro, I didn't even process what was happening. I just saw that the picks were going the way of Thick of It, and it's like, oh, okay, sure. And then Taniki decides, nah, I'd win, and then just pops the blade there.
There was no business for Ataraxia, for Ataraxia winning there, because the position was so good for Thick of It. And I mean, they had ultimates, and then they got 2 pick-offs, sorry. And I mean, Ataraxia wins it anyway with Toniki, an amazing play, 5 kills. I mean, I don't know if we do replays here, but I'm just gonna watch it on my own. Actually, I'm going to Twitch right now.
Oh, I say, okay. All right, Kuro needs like 2 minutes to just go back and watch that replay. I mean, see it on Taniki's stream, right? You know, Taniki, one of the, I think it's the biggest Spanish-speaking streamer in the world or something like that. You know, getting some pretty good viewership. Remember that all these teams have already secured a portion of the prize pool. They are, of course, fighting to get into that finals and get the, first place finish, 400 euros. But I think that third place, they get about, 66 euros out of the prize pool. I don't know, about 10 euros per person. Correct. If you got 10 euros right now, what would you do with it?
I mean, in Czech Republic, there's like 5 million basically in my currency, so I'd probably buy a house. I would probably, start a family, move to the countryside.
Get a mortgage, yeah.
Yes.
Make some investments, I see.
Yeah. Agner, what would you do with 10 euros? Would you pay off your student loans?
My student loans are firmly approaching because, as you know, Kuro, I've got my law degree and now I'm doing my legal training, but that costs
Yeah.
an extra 12 grand. So I paid 9 grand for the first year,
Mm.
9 grand, 9 grand, 12 grand. I'm about like 40,000 in student loan debt right now.
But I mean, you got to law degree in 3 years, which is illegal here, first of all, and quite insane in my opinion. But congrats
Well,
on that
cry about
effort.
it. Thank
I
you
am
very
going
much,
to.
Kuro.
I am
We're both
currently
very.
crying about it. I am currently crying about it.
We're both literally Harvey Specter. That's what we're doing right now.
Yeah. But we're casting Overwatch today, and enough flexing. You know, ladies, look at
Yes.
us. We're both going to be lawyers, so I'm sure you can find our Twitters somewhere.
What
Anyway,
ladies? What ladies?
or
They ain't
pretty
real.
pretty boys.
Yes,
Anyway,
more specifically.
I have a Tinder date coming up actually after this is done. That's why I
Oh
can't
Jesus!
cast the finals. So
Wow.
yeah, I'm gonna be heading to that. Anyway,
You,
Overwatch. Taniki with the
make sure to
okay.
show her the clip of you casting Overwatch, and she'll be so
Oh my God,
impressed.
she's gonna be on her knees, tying up
She'll
her.
literally marry
Okay,
you.
maybe
She'll
I can't
literally
do it.
marry you on the spot. I don't know what you're insinuating there, Kuro. That's a
No,
hell of a
nothing.
thing. Let's move
I
on.
yes, yeah.
Let's move on as these. Let's move on as these players are deciding next map. Blizzard World is going to be next map. So I mean, we're still likely going to see a lot of Wrecking Ball here. It seems that the teams have decided that that is just the play. On the defensive side, it makes sense if you can play. Did we get given misinformation? Because I'm seeing Iconvold in like the producer screen, but I've been told that it's Blizzard World. No, Blizzard World it is. Okay, phenomenal. I'm not going crazy. Well, only a little bit. So, on the defensive side, the Sigma definitely makes sense here. If you can anchor that first high ground with the Sigma while your ball is still causing chaos, then you can just control that space and give your DPS free reign of the high grounds, just shoot down on the enemy. On the attacking side, I mean, you can run a Sigma. The Zarya is also a pretty good option. I think it's just almost certain that we're going to see the ball and how integral the ball matchup is going to be in deciding this series. I mean, hey,
Sigma.
welcome to the Semper stream. We get to watch balls. It's a phenomenal thing.
Well, uh, okay, caught me off guard a little bit there. I was gonna say that the Sigma and Illari is probably why they're playing the Sigma, because they have a very similar playstyle. As you said before, the Sigma wants to play a bit slower. Well, I disagree actually, because against the ball Zarya, the more space you get on the Sigma, and I mean, then okay, we get into the debate of what is fast, what is slow, right? I feel like there are about 3 people that understand tempo within Overwatch, and none of them are here currently today. So,
So sad.
um, so yes, well. The Sigma, in my opinion, wants to move up the map, which for me means playing fast, right? He wants to take as much space as possible. The ball wants to maybe allow him a little bit. As I was saying, the ball should allow his team to get into position and then engage. That for me is playing slow, right? And making the swap within the tempo of playing slow and then engaging all at once, playing fast. The Sigma wants to play fast all the time, always pushing, always taking an angle on the map, and playing slow only when he really has to, right? Disengaging, peeling for his team, stuff like that. But the ball composition, they want to start slow and then go fast. The Sigma team wants to be fast all the time.
I mean, well, that makes sense because Zarya will inevitably get stronger as the fight goes on. The more pressure that you can apply earlier in the fight on the Sigma to, stymie that Zarya, not let them build up that energy, not let them then suddenly, there are few things in the game that can deal with a fully charged Zarya walking onto your front line. Don't let that happen in the first place. Play the tempo so that she doesn't even, get that positioning. Mauga would be a war crime here. It would certainly do wonders against the Wrecking Ball, but that feels very personal. It's like in yesterday's game, Taniki ended up swapping Sombra against Simonizer on Circuit Royale of all maps just to deal with the Wrecking Ball because of how obnoxious it was. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. And yeah, we're not going to be seeing the Mauga coming out from Ataraxia Virtus. This is so sad. Alexa, play Despacito.
I really like the Widow pick here from Toneki though. I feel like it opens up the map so much for the Sigma. I would have liked also maybe the Illari a little bit, because once you have Widow, you're watching these sidelines, your team can move around the map. Oh, we are seeing the Illari. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong team. So yes, we're gonna see Toneki
Sombra.
set up here in main, opening up the map for his team. You see how easy it is for him to move, to take these high grounds.
Well, that is until Coldskin wants to, say something about it. And Tanicki's made the swap over to the Sombra. It is, in fact, anti-Wrecking Ball time. Don't let them play the game. As simple as that. And it's good enough for Daedrox to actually, tick Prime off the list. Take a Dynamite to the face. Polo gets the Torpedoes in as well. Now you don't have any DPS for the side of Thick of It. You don't have any firepower whatsoever. It's going to be a very clean take of first point. Coldskin, is always causing some chaos, has been. I think just, it's been so refreshing to see strong Bull gameplay, because Bull has not always sucked, but has struggled for the lifetime of Overwatch 2. Watching these Bull players come out in full force all of a sudden to play in 6v6 is a work of art.
I really do not rate the swap from Toniki. I feel like the Widowmaker was working so well. I mean, you saw just the pressure. He didn't shoot a single shot, and Dikovic just gave the entire map away, basically for free. I mean, basically like a charity there, just against the Widow. But yeah, now he's onto the Sobra, looking to counter the ball, which I feel like the Sigma could have done on his own, but we'll see.
You have an EMP now, and you're actually just gonna get rocked out of the fight for Tanicki, forced all the way back. And remember how different Sombra plays after the rework. You do see a captive son out from Gala, who actually gets taken out, not able to even get that ultimate off. But it's a trade of the Alaris now, and an Orbital Ray should mean that this is a good fight win for the Thick of It. I mean, Orbital Ray is just such a dominating ultimate right now. It will decide the bulk of your fights.
The kiting had to be a little bit better there from Thick of It. They had the option to back out, but they chose to keep looking at their ball, keep supporting him maybe. Now we're gonna see the Orbiter Ray from the other side.
Yeah, and what can you really do about this? I mean, your only option would be to try and flux him out of it, but you're very liable to just get shot down. Lazy gets taken out during the retreat, however, so it is a 5v5, and now Typhoon hacked! Perfect play! I mean, we were giving Tanicki some flack for picking the Sombra, but if you can get value like that out of it, then you know what? Fair play, big lad. You're a better man than I.
I mean, we saw exactly what I was talking about. The Sigma from Thick of It was playing way too slow there. Their ball was already in, or maybe the ball was playing too fast. You have to kind of sync up those playstyles. Your Sigma is so far behind you and you're already trying to cause chaos. Why are you doing that? You have no pick potential on the ball. You have to look for your team a little bit here. Escala gets the pick onto Prime. That's a big one here.
Yeah, I mean, that is huge. And the mines, then Typhoon actually gets hacked up in the middle of the minefield, has nowhere to go and everywhere to look. Tanicki investing the EMP to make sure that fight is solidly won. And now the ultimate economy is really snowballing for Ataraxia Virtus. Now that they, are able to use an EMP and a minefield to win that fight, they're up to the Bob, the Flux, and the Captive Son. All lethal ults individually. Combine them together, you're going to cause some chaos. And Typhoon thinks that Zarya is the play here.
I think the Zarya is a good shout here, but we're gonna see the Flux engage here onto the Zarya. She does not end up dying. Lazy again, a bit out of sync. I feel like they're playing too far compared to where the position of the payload is right now. Maybe I would like to see them play a bit slower, hold the Bob, hold these ultimates.
I mean, Bob also just tossed out. It buys a little bit of cart distance, but not a fight win. And with the pick that Prime got, a great shot there to take out Daedrox, actually force them over to the Soja, and Thick of It are able to capitalize, get the fight win of their own. And now look how the ult economy is done. It does feel like Ataraxia Virtus did toss away some of their ults.
I do not like the swap onto the Hog. I mean, as I've said before on Lijiang, I mean, it kind of is used to make space for the front line, but no, when the enemy has a Zarya, I feel like that's a direct counter pick for that sort of playstyle. But yeah, I mean, once again, last fight we saw Lazy going
Captive
a
Zone
bit
gets
fast.
nothing. Captive Zone came in from Keo. It got absolutely nothing. And it seems like the bounce back ability is good from the side of Ataraxia Virtus. Again, we weren't necessarily believers in the Hog, but if you're able to take out, if you're able to win a fight that quickly before the Zarya is able to get energy and just use Hog as an ult battery, it's not going to matter. Lazy's trying to make this recontest difficult with a minefield in the spawn room here. Is a touch even going to be able to come through? No, just about, but ultimately, fight is perfectly cleaned up. I mean, you have Daedrox just doing phenomenal business. You have the Orbital Ray coming out that you have to fight into. Spectacular attack round from Ataraxia Virtus.
Right, so I feel like Ataraxia has the stream turned on, and actually every time I say I don't like a single hero, they just are like, okay, well, I'm gonna prove you wrong. It happened with the Sombra, it happened with the Hog. I mean, what can I say? I mean, guys, Mercy here. I mean, that's a horrible pick. Don't pick Mercy, guys. Let's see if they end up with Mercy, my favorite hero.
I mean, we've seen Lifeweaver unironically played thus far. I mean, it was brief. It was for like, 15 seconds before swapping to an actual real character. Mercy sucks and probably won't be good for a long time because all of the other supports have gone better around her, and she doesn't really offer all that much.
Well, Actor, I follow Coach Coffee on Twitter, and I, as his avid follower and believer, know that a Mercy is the power pick right now and always was.
Coach Coffee Twitter follow. That's crazy.
I learned a lot from him.
I mean, I hear that I hear, like, memes aside, I've heard that he's actually like a pretty good coach.
Yeah, he is. I'll never want to discredit him or anything, but it just seems kind of funny to mention him. But anyway, back to Overwatch now. We're getting a bit too cybernetic here with Actor. That would never happen with Chris, by the way. I was full focused. With you, it's a bit harder.
It's because I'm so handsome and that's all that you think about.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah.
Guatemala going to be pulling Typhoon in. A hack there does mean that you're actually able to get an early D-mech. And a D.Va out of the mech is all but useless, at least until you can get that back. So, window of opportunity here, I would say, yeah, for Ataraxia Virtus, they're able to take out the baby D.Va, force this 5v6, and you know that you can't realistically fight this from the thick of its side, so you're just going to wait, chill out a little bit. Cold Skin, maybe looking to push up a little bit just to get some positioning, maybe behind Ataraxia Virtus, go for a hit.
One player that's been a little too quiet for me is Prime. Last series he was popping off, all these high kill blades, all these like single pickoffs. Now we see the gap shifting a little bit, maybe towards Virtus Pro with Toniki getting another pick. I mean, Prime though, not too shabby there with the pick on the Days Rocks as I start blaming him.
And a Gala's already charged a captive son. Tosses it in. It's zoning, but the idea was there. Typhoon's able to get some picks, and Repsy actually duplicates a Lari of their own. Gets a better. That is the craziest Alari diff I have ever seen. Dupe maybe the world's best Alari player, and then kill them on that character. Why the hell not?
I feel like Virtus should make some roster changes. Look at this REUPLOAD guy. Retrial main support.
Rev6 main support gameplay is going to be crazy, but first cap is going to go the way of Thick of It. Lazy actually goes in wanting that last touch, but it is a staggered out kill onto the ball, means that you're going to get some very good push here. Guatemala actually pops the whole hog in the small room. Where are you going, my man?
Now we're gonna see this choke is so hard for teams sometimes, and especially in 6v6 there's just, this is just exactly what ends up happening, right? Throw the chest out the window, play checkers. Every single ult, just click correctly, and who has more of them is going to win eventually.
Honestly,
It seems to be Thick of It now.
You charge ult so quickly in 6v6 that there's almost no reason to be saving them or holding onto them for any given opportunity. You just get them and you press Q, and that's what we're seeing right now as a minefield is out on the point for Lazy after Guatemala goes already killed 2, after you've already won the fight. Why not, big lad? Just do anything that you can to flex on the enemy. Repsy has charged up to another duplicate. Ends up duping the hog, but just getting bullied out by Gala this time. Clearly heard us, wants some revenge. Prime out with the blade! The dash doesn't hit anything, and you're gonna be sunstruck by the Gala captive son. That is a beef of galactic proportions.
I need a bucket. Oh,
yeah. What do you even say about that blade that hasn't already been covered by our noises of disgust?
Look, if I'm the individual coach of this. Okay, never mind, I can't say that. Moving on.
You're fired.
The engage here a bit weak from the ball.
I mean, like, I mean, you go in, you try and minefield high ground, but it's a good boop and a good hack to push you back. Guatemalteco tries to make a
I
play
mean,
happen with the whole hog, but it's just sort of been farmed every single time this whole hog has come out and gets punished for it anyway. And ultimately, even despite the maybe subpar minefield to open that fight, Thick of It end up winning it out regardless, and Gala gonna be taken down extremely late stagger kill.
I mean, how do you cast this? Our observers are doing such an amazing job showing us everything that's happening, but maybe that's bad. Maybe just show me one thing.
There's
So that I can...
there's so much that's happening. That's
Maybe
the
just-
problem.
Yeah, maybe just show me one thing so that I can like sort of make an image in my head of what's going on. But
Ooh.
instead, there's so much stuff happening. There's the Orbital Ray. You know, the Hawk gets the pick off now. Kios killing to Nikki. I mean, Edgar, you're out on your own. I feel like my head's spinning.
Thank you, King. 4v5 now on the point. Think of it, they have this Diva Bomb, not necessarily to get any kills, but just to confirm the point cap, right? They'll place it on the point, stop a decent contest coming through. Lazy might have their own idea with the minefield, is going to be popping it 28 centimeters on the point. You cannot afford to get off of this for the time being. Cold Skin is hacked up, barely able to escape the fight, barely able to get out with their life, and Goldskin actually just utilizing their own minefield in the fight. Differentials onto Lazy's, even if Lazy's able to eventually get the bull diff in the mine matchup. I mean, you still end up getting that point cap, but the point is, you're going to have a worse time bank than Ataraxia Virtus no matter how quick you push this.
And I mean, what a fight from Thick of It again. I feel like this team is exceptional during these high stake fights. When you see it again, I mean, on Lijiang we didn't see it much, but the last match against No Name, it was amazing. Just their disengagement, they're playing as a team so well, but here crumbling a little bit, not using any ults though.
No, and the poke is just really strong, right? Gala is set up, entrenched on the Alari, and is going to be, you know, out sniping an Ashe. Why don't you? Guatemalteco is here to deal with any stray threats. You know, already forced Prime off the Tracer that they wanted to play for a while. And Nikki has an EMP, which if used properly, should just be a free fight win, and yeah, it's going to go... Again, you get a little bit aggressive as the Somber player, but you're able to hack up 3, get 2
It's an
picks,
amazing...
damage should have been done. But
An amazing turn.
unless you have something to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, I try to say it 3 times, I'll say it again. I mean, amazing turn from Thick of It here. Just the way they're playing these fights, I like the way they have a kiting phase, they have a re-engage phase. I mean, we saw it with Kyo, and the Coalescence was amazing. Typhoon leading the charge on D.Va, shutting down Gala. Exceptional macro from this team, actually.
I mean, that might be the difference between these teams, right? Yeah, you have more individually talented players on Ataraxia Virtus, but think of it, they really have their macro down, they have their team play down. Daedrox wants to open this with a Deadeye.
Should
Definitely speculative at best, and Typhoon pops a bomb into this one. Daedrox able to push through, actually utilize that, get Prime out, courts him out somehow. Very clean fight win for Ataraxia Virtus there. They're holding strong with a minute left on the clock.
Yeah, really good from Daedrox. He's been a really standout player for me this series at least, along with Gala on the Illari. However, Typhoon now on the Zarya is gonna have a bit of harder time focusing down that Illari, you know, because the opposing off tank swap to Zarya and then D.Va becomes pretty much unplayable.
Yeah, it really does, especially on, you know, a point like this where you can't exactly force high ground, you just have to walk through main. Early mines were out from Lazy, and they did a whole lot of damage. That's actually the only ult that was invested from Ataraxia Virtus. We're able to get 2 picks off the back of that one, and continue to get these staggers at the 30-second mark here. Typhoon's made another swap now, off the Zarya, back onto the Sigma. It seems like just sort of playing, you know, mystery heroes with this kind of pick.
It is really tough. The D.Va is definitely the best hero into Illari, but
Oof.
yeah, I mean, an
EMP,
amazing engage from Lazy here from behind there on the whole team.
There's the perfect timing. The EMP and the engage from behind with the ball at basically the same time. What can you even do? There's no time left on the clock. You're able to trigger overtime, but anything that you might need to do is just gonna be routed by Ataraxia Virtus with their individual talent, with their ult bank. Last chance territory to get into the finals for Thick of It now. They really need to show up.
Definitely, and I feel like they have improved for sure from the junk tower, but there are some fights that just don't go their way, and then it's really hard to claw the lead back from Ataraxia when once set up, the Illari becomes so incredibly strong in my opinion, and I feel like we've seen it here again. Uh, in my opinion, the biggest maybe game changer there was the swap onto Zarya from the Hawk, because you basically deny the Diva that's been kind of countering the Illari on the third point, and then we saw that at 2 minutes they were just basically able to hold in the at the choke, at the first choke there, with the amazing engage on the last fight.
It doesn't feel fair to be able to just pick a. It doesn't feel fair to be able to pick
Oh,
such a defensive map and then just what?
no, nothing. Keep going.
Sure. Nothing. But yeah, no. On the defensive side for Gala, to be able to put that guy on a Lari and just sort of let them have free reign and hit shots, that guy is a nutcase on the character, as Ataraxia Vertigo 2 up in this series. Think of it, again, it's what we've been saying. It feels like their macro is on point. They have these fight phases, as you've said, that they're doing, that they are playing extraordinarily well, but the problem arises in sometimes, like, at the end of the day, as a famous man once said, it's a shooter. You click them in the head and they die. And if Ataraxia are able to click on Think of It harder, then all of that macro, all of that theory crafting doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Egder. I wasn't really listening to you right now. I just got kind of lost in your eyes there. I don't know. But you were probably correct.
Save it for after the stream. My oh my.
I mean, we're reaching the. Actually, you have to cast one more map with Chris.
I mean,
Okay,
I
well,
have to, yeah, but afterwards. Oh no, you got your
okay.
date. Well, I mean, you didn't say who it was with, and
I might just
contrary
cancel.
to,
I mean, at this point, fuck it, right?
I mean, it's me that you're going with.
All right. Um, Going back, setting up the narrative a little bit. Setting up the narrative a little bit for the third map here. As I said during the second map, I've been missing the prime Genji, you know. I feel like against No Name, he was like undisputed on the character. He was getting picks left and right and center. And now he's just getting overshadowed by both DPS of Ataraxia, frankly speaking. And yeah, and I mean, it's just like some of these engages of Cold Skin where it's the same as on the Lijiang, he was a bit too fast. I mean, bro, if you're listening, just wait a little bit. Wait for your team to set up. Your your DPS don't have such a high mobility as you do on the ball. Like you have to wait a bit, scout, you know, ping some of these targets. Let your DPS set up. Then you can engage, right? Play slow,
Hmm.
slow, slow, then fast. Ataraxia has been doing an exceptional job of keeping up the tempo, playing always fast. The Sigma, when they were on it, was constantly moving with Gala. That's why he's getting so many picks. It's not just because he can move his mouse very well, but he can also click on the WASD keys really well, um, and taking that space away from the enemy. So that's a shift I would like to see from the click of it. You know, playing a bit more, focus a bit more on tempo of the game, because I feel like you're constantly trying to force, and at some point with the ball you're gonna have to scout, you know, play a bit slower, prepare those fights, then engage, you know, then use these abilities, then burst someone. You know, Ilari, and they've been playing it with the Lucio, right? They don't have that burst healing necessary to survive, right? That's why we saw Gala on the first map go on to Baptiste, because he needed a bit more burst healing to survive these dives on these close maps. But now he's open to do anything because you're not really pressuring him out.
Hmm. And we do have the next map selection coming in from Thick of It. This is their last chance, their sort of desperation play. Suravasa is where we're going to be going now. This is where Atarax Virtus decided to take. This is where Ataraxia Virtus decided to go yesterday when they ended up losing their matchup, right? So we're going to be going in now. That might have been the honestly, that might have been the idea from that might have been the idea from Thick of It, right? That they okay, well, this map was lost yesterday by Ataraxia Virtus. This is the opportunity now to to clinch it back.
And I like the ball Zarya on this map. Honestly, I think the Sigma Ilari is pretty tough here because this map has been specifically designed for Overwatch 2, and there's not that much space for the Ilari to take. You know, there's a lot of like close on corridors, so maybe something like the Genji Tracer, you know, is really going to work to set up these flank engages. But on the other hand, you know, Sombra's probably going to be really good into ball here as well, denying that side angle that he creates. So it's going to be interesting to see what we're on. And we're on Genji Echoes. Yeah, that's exactly what I would like to think of it to be on here.
Okay. Well, I mean, it seems like this should be. It seems like this should be a good play. Taniki is going to be going back over to the Sombra. Again, it's a pick that we criticize, but a pick that was actually surprisingly effective when played well. I think they're going to go back over to their double speed style, play their composition sort of as fast as they can. That's sort of why they have these double speeders. Matsumoto already getting poked out before the fight even begins, and this is probably like the only neutral fight that happens, and you're actually just going to get a perfect hook onto Typhoon, blow them up, get them into the pig pen as well. Rebsy falling to a similar fate. First cap once more going the way of Ataraxia Virtus.
And thank you so much, observers, for the bird's eye view there on the first fight. We saw Lazy taking up so much space of the map, and that's exactly what I talked about. Gala needs this space, and Lazy went exactly the route he needed to that fight. You know, you saw Goldskin hanging out with his skin. Goldskin hanging out with his team there, which is not what you want to do on the ball. I mean, why are you with your team, right? You bring zero value to that. You need to develop a lane. You need to scout.
Yeah, just stack up a bit less if you're cold skin, or just remember how you were asking for the Prime to come back. Well, it seems like Prime is in his prime once more, and I'm going to stop making these puns because they're hurting me.
Okay, so REUPLOAD is going whole hog, as they say. A pretty hole, a pretty hog.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for that. And Typhoon's going to be swapping over to the Junker Queen now. What do we think about this matchup? You can definitely do some good work against the Hog, and you're a little bit more survival as well, but you also don't have the bubble for your ball to help their own engages, right? But they may not even need it. Cold Skin already opens it up onto Gala. Prime pulls the blade, makes this a 5v4. Can it be a 5v3? Yes, just about. Typhoon already finding their mark on the Queen. And thick of it, going to be cleaning up, wrestling some control back from Ataraxia Virtus.
The Queen is great here, and we already saw Typhoon playing this today. You know, I really like the way he plays the Queen. He's a bit more, like, playing it a bit more safe. You know, we saw him in the first match just countering the Tracer on point, which I thought was a little bit weird at the end, but, you know, ended up working. Here, Typhoon is sitting on 40% ult charge, not really, you know, doing much damage, but doing his job as an anchor for his team, making it hard for Lazy to engage here.
Yeah, and actually just forcing all thick of it to turn their head when Gala decides to go in with the Captive Sun, and Polo going to be reinforcing that with an orbital ray of their own. And Guatemalteco, you know, a Hog on point with that much of a damage boost and that much constant healing is just a deadly threat. Quick little look away onto Kyo, knows that the rest of the team is going to follow it up, and Ataraxia Virtus take our first point on Flashpoint. They get closer and closer to securing their Grand Finals rematch.
You know, this is why I love Flashpoint. All this 85%, that doesn't matter at all for the thick of it here. Ataraxia make great use of that last fight here and coming with an economic advantage into the next one. We see Goldskin going in first again, but getting hacked by Toniki.
Yeah, and an EMP, and it is spectacular, at least to catch onto a couple of members, right? I mean, I say that, but ultimately it didn't seem to a whole lot. Ataraxia Virtus, they get positioning on the point, and now again you can see the double tank setup. You turn your head to deal with the Wrecking Ball, and suddenly a duplicated Hog walks in, hooks you out of, you know, existence, and being able to dupe the tanks once more in 6v6 is, I mean, it was so strong for so long for this exact reason.
Yeah, REUPLOAD is doing such a great job on the Hog. I mean, you can say that he likes his Hogs because he's been copying them all day. He's doing a great job.
Reasonable, reasonable. Nothing at all. And this is some spectacular aggression coming out. Guatemalteco still somehow alive, and Prime takes this as the go button to just walk forward with the blade. Eventually gets counteracted by Daze Drox, and a flip is able to come through for Ataraxia Virtus. So they were in a bad situation, but honestly they were able to get the best out of it that they could have.
Oh my god, the Queen is looking kind of scary when you look for the first person point of view there.
Playing with fire. Typhoon, definitely knowing their limits, and Coldskin is so ready for this minefield. This one not necessarily going to get any kills, but is definitely good to split Guatemala from the rest of the roster. But Gala already flew through, got the Captive Sun down, was able to deal some damage to take Prime out of the fight. Now Typhoon walks on. Get yourself you get a lot of presence on the point as a Junk Queen if you're able to, keep proccing those bleeds and keep getting that self-healing on the board, but you're not able to do it. Instead, you're just going to be counteracted by Ataraxia Virtus and their ability to just hit shots at the best of times.
Yeah, I mean, REUPLOAD extending his repertoire of hogs and now ball as well.
Some say it's torture, I say it's a pleasure. Anyway.
Now, Ataraxia looking at 10%, you're going to... I can't do this.
I mean, regardless, Gala's going to be cleaning up the fight. Now, the only ults that we have on the board are Typhoon's Rampage, which is going to be relatively uncontested, and Lazy's Minefield. Kyo also going to be charging up to a Coalescence of their own. Could be a neat little combination play, anti everyone up and then follow up with all of the damage from the Coalescence that can't really be easily blocked or avoided. And that could be a pretty good play, and it's especially effective to delete Daze Drops from the fight already. Minefield is out, but it seems to be a bit behind of where everyone is playing, and it means that the tanks are able to walk forward from the side of Thick of It and continue to apply more pressure to the point. Duplicate on the Moira here from Taniki thinks that this is winnable, and you can certainly charge an ult very, very quickly on the Moira. Typhoon still wants to lock the point down. 99% for Thick of It. They just need to get these crucial picks when they can. Taniki forced out of the duplicate. Their Coalescence isn't going to get a whole lot, but the Sticky Bombs are going to get a lot more. Kyo's back with their own Coalescence. How much was that able to do? Clearly not enough. Lazy gets taken down, but the picks are going all in the favor of Ataraxia Virtus right now. Typhoon just being shoved unceremoniously into the corner by the whole hog. And they hold on for a little bit longer, do Ataraxia Virtus firmly final fight territory. That's if you can even get a clean last fight.
I mean, the Queen though is looking so strong. I mean, a key macro mistakes there, but I saw him so many ults on the side of Thick of It here. The Queen is looking exceptional, I feel like, into this comp.
Roll through, so you are able to at least get the contest, and the orbital rate is very, very strong for Thick of It. You've had a phenomenal ult advantage coming into this fight. Polo decides to respond with an orbital rate of their own, but it might just be too little too late. The damage has been done, unless Lazy has something to say about it. Just going to be spinning to win on the point. And Gala charging another Captive Sun.
No.
Gets the damage in, able to pick off Snowman. Again, it's these individual heroics from Ataraxia Virtus that we keep seeing, but what good is individual heroics into an absolutely stacked ult bank from the side of Thick of It? Because of that, I do think that they're going to be taking Palace by the skin of their teeth.
Thick of It uses 0 ults there. I mean, you're 0 to
the
down.
orbital ray.
Yeah, they
that's
used
it,
one.
yeah.
I mean, that's extremely confident coming out from them. They're 0 to in the map points, and now it could have been 0 to on this map as well. But the confidence eventually is going to net them an extreme advantage moving into this third point, which might not be even close considering the eco advantage.
Yeah, and Lazy, you can see in the health bar, has already been forced out of the fight by falling so low. This gives Thick of It a spectacular opportunity. They're not even going to dunk the minefield in, they're just going to go with the Rampage, and that's good enough to ante up a whole lot of members of Ataraxia Virtus. Thick of It going to be holding strong on Surabasa. We can see how this map pick is paying off for them now.
I mean, Typhoon is just on fire on this screen, and I feel like it's... I obviously don't want to discredit Typhoon, but I feel like whoever balanced this patch for the 6v6 left, was a Queen player. Still 4 ults here for the side of Thick of It. Still an advantage. I feel like this point might just be decided the minefield to zone them off.
I mean, Taniki's able to catch Prime before the fight even begins, but losing a tank, even in 6v6, losing a tank is just far more impactful than losing a DPS. Coldskin's failed, however, and suddenly the trades aren't so bad, and REUPLOAD charging up to there. It's the mirrored whole hogs coming out here. Guess who has another Captive Sun? It's Gala, again, coming through with a pick onto Typhoon. Your only tank presence on the point now is a duplicated hog from REUPLOAD, but you're able to use the whole hog to boop Taniki off the map. And now we're seeing the Hog Zarya setup coming through. No Wrecking Ball at all from the Ataraxia Virtus side. Orbital Rays are mirrored, and that enables Prime's Blade to go absolutely ludicrous here. Still taken out, but 85%. And your touch is looking awfully unviable for Ataraxia Virtus.
You know, as a 3 out of 10 in club would say, any hog will do. And I mean, it does here. REUPLOAD on the point with the copy, ends up saving up this third point here. Going into the advantage 2-1 on this map. Let's see if Dikovic can translate that into a map point here.
Ataraxia Virtus have just decided against the ball style completely. They're going hard Zarya, hard Junker Queen. They've seen the work that Typhoon's been doing, but unfortunately, you may not be them the way that you think you are. And now, remember, the first point went the way of Ataraxia Virtus here. Could be the slow crawl towards a reverse sweep, beginning from thick of it. As they already get early positioning on the point, they already get a clean fight win.
And I mean, the ego is not looking that tough. It definitely is going to be, judging based on the
Well,
numbers,
no
a
EMP
bit close,
anymore.
but yeah, not if that happens. Keo, an amazing pick onto Toniki. I wonder how that happens, but Daysdrock's in trouble here. Or is he?
Oh, turns the tables, and now Snowman's taken out. That's going to be an incredibly impactful pick, but you go aggressively with the use of Typhoon's Rampage, and ignore Rebsy, you know, just having enough of this goddamn game and taking their own life, but you're able to get a very convincing fight win for thick of it.
In-game.
In-game. Take their own life in-game. If you look at the old banks now, I mean, Taniki's EMP has to be the one to look at. You know, it's very capable of just cheating the ultimate economy, right? You can't really respond to the EMP with ults of your own. You're gonna bubble it, just make sure that it goes off. You end up getting the coalescence off for Keo. Taniki gets taken out. The rest of the team wasn't able to engage there. It feels like the spaghetti is just being dropped by Ataraxia.
Oh my god, this
I'm sorry, what? That was the combo. The combo came out. It was the Grav Pulse Bomb combination. Full team kill there with only 3-4 members remaining for the side of Ataraxia Virtus. They've just put themselves back into this one.
I mean, they definitely did. I mean, that was extreme. You know, the overextension a little bit maybe from thick of it allows that turn. But the EMP from Toniki was a bit too fast. I mean, we need to kill a bit with these DPS, and REUPLOAD is dead.
Yeah, that's huge, staying out in the engage. But it is a DPS for a DPS trade, but everyone is in that one lane, and Guatemalteco sees that and just wants to tear a hole through him with the Rampage, and it works out spectacularly well. Another fight win for Ataraxia Virtus, and now they're getting their support ults online, but they have to deal with both DPS ults in the meantime.
Okay, honestly, you take that if you're thick of it, you know, getting that Queen ult out. I wouldn't be maybe too shy of maybe swapping onto the Kiri here if I was on the side of Virtus Pro, you know, judging probably the ult track has the Queen at around 80%. But now coming in with the Illari.
Typhoon, where are you? What?
Oh.
Why are you there? Typhoon just beefs that away completely, and Gala's able to capitalize onto the rest of the team with just a captive son. Is good enough for a pick onto Prime. Daysdrox has been taken out. Rebsy did juke up, and yeah, I mean they need to touch this point. Snowman's been taken down with the orbital ray from thick of it. Great boop there is going to deny a lot of the value from that Rampage. Yes, Gala gets taken out, but things could have been far worse for Ataraxia Virtus there, and they drag themselves kicking and screaming to this last point.
Oh, I mean, that's such a hard defeat. I mean, you basically had the map in the bag, and now you're facing the 2-2 score here. One last point here on this flashpoint, and I mean, looking at the old economies, it's pretty much even. I mean, Typhoon has a bit of an advantage on the Queen battle, but so far I think of it have the biggest problem using their ults. I feel like they always use one and they're happy with them, but I mean, some fights you might have to win eventually, guys. The economy doesn't matter as much if, you know, you're not making use of the resources.
And Polo definitely gets the better end of that ult trade. You're able to get more out of your own orbital ray. That being said, you're still able to get the mines on point, get initial cap here for thick of it.
this is
This
where you
is
need to
some
stagger Gala.
crazy game. This is some crazy gameplay, and you are able to pick off Gala at the end of the fight and get your first cap. And again, how do you begin that fight with 2 picks from the side of Ataraxia Virtus and then end up losing the fight anyway?
Ah, I wish I knew, Edgar. I wish I knew. I mean, I was just watching Prime gonna go off on, or sorry, it was the Nicky go off on Reb6 there, eventually winning that duel. However, his team ended up losing now. We're gonna go with the minefield here, I suppose, to gain some space for the Ilari, but it's Typhoon with a huge ult.
Yeah, the Rampage able to get a lot of members. It's another captive son from Gala, and this time it's able to, help deal the damage for Ataraxia Virtus to get their point flip. But remember, 70% on Flashpoint is essentially final fight territory, right? Maybe you can get a retouch after. Maybe you can get a retouch on 70%, but you definitely can't get a full clean fight.
Yeah, I always used to tell my players it's 80% the threshold here for most flashpoints, and this one definitely far away from the spawn, so 80% might just be enough, but 70 it's probably not gonna do it. The ultimates are looking rough for both sides. It's gonna take heroics here, individual pickoffs, and Polo is the first one to get one.
Yeah, Snowman going down is going to be huge. And again, how do these fights happen where one team's able to get the initial picks and then, just able to bounce back? Coldskin gets through onto Taniki. Rebsy's back from spawn all of a sudden. It's just a Tracer versus the world right now, and Coldskin is applying pressure to the point where it really has to be. And Gala reinforced with the pylon, able to win the 1v1 against the Echo. There is a reason this guy is considered one of the best to ever do it. Minefield is on the point. Gala's being forced into an awkward position. Pylon's not dead. And you know who has another captive son? It's Gala again. What does this guy have in the morning, bro? I don't get it. What does he put in his Weetabix?
Of course he does. I mean, no one's shooting the pylon, guys.
Oh my god, and the duplicate on the ball is desperate. You're able to barely get the touch through.
Prime,
but
this is you.
What? I mean, Prime has the blade, but it's a complete 1v6 situation right here. You're not able to get anything with it. You're going to be failed. You're going to get shut down. You fought bravely, think of it. It was hotly contested. Ratarax Virtus secure their tickets to the grand finals. They are looking for revenge.
Oh my god, it's the pylon, guys. Ah, okay. Well, that was a roller coaster for sure. I mean, an extremely exciting map. I feel like both teams have played an amazing series, even though the score is 3-0. Definitely on this last map, you could have seen, how really evenly matched both of these teams are, and we saw, so many balls, so many hogs, and at the end of the day, Ataraxia are just better.
Ataraxia just better. I mean, couldn't have put it better myself, right? I mean, there are a lot of options there for player of the match. I have to go with Gala. Dude was just charging. Dude was charging captive sons at an alarming rate. Bro became the sun, just ate the sun completely before this match, and it's definitely showed in that performance, right? It really was the linchpin in so many of these fights. Even in lost fights, you would see that Bro would just get 2 exit frags because he felt like it. Pylons always getting value, whether that was because they weren't being shot at, or because they were just in a really good spot and they were just getting work done. You have to give credit to Gala on the Alari there, really just dragging Ataraxia Virtus to that win. And I think because of that, play of the match goes to Gala for me.
Look, for you maybe, but what really matters is what I say. So for me, it's definitely
Okay.
Days Driox. I feel like on the DPS, there were so many moments where you were like, oh, the fight is kind of going even, but then, this guy out of nowhere gets 2 free kills, with the pulse bomb as well, securing that play of the game on the last match, and also, I mean, okay, I'm just gonna glaze every single one of them, but there's 6 of them now, so that's, one more than I would usually glaze on a team. Um, the off tank for Ataraxia, I forgot his name. It was really complicated, but the off tank, I feel like the playstyle of his really helped Gala do the things he did because, as I highlighted after the second map, Ataraxia were so good with tempo control. They were constantly pushing in. Gala had so much space. I mean, how many times did you hear me just like during your casting say Gala because he was just surviving in like situations he never should, and that's because of the space that his tanks helped him create. And so big shout out to them as well.
Yeah, absolutely huge. And I mean, that does I mean that tells us exactly what our final is, right? If I have a little look through the bracket because I'm going to be honest, I have forgotten the name of the teams because I am not the cleverest man in the world.
But you have a
What's the
law
name
degree.
of the
How
other?
is that possible?
I don't know. I fluked my way to the law degree.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah, happens to the best of us, man. Wait, no, I'm actually really confused because I can't find the
Okay,
bracket.
what are you looking for? I have the bracket. What do you
I'm
need?
just looking for the finals.
It's gonna be the voices are too loud against No?
That's who it
Oh
was.
yeah,
Yeah,
Attractive versus. Yeah.
voices are too loud. I mean, yeah. How could I forget with a name like that? The voices are too loud versus Attractive versus.
Rolls
They are
round.
going to be in your grand finals, which will be with you very, very shortly. So we're going to go to a quick break. Kuro, thank you for joining us today. Chris and I are going to be taking it for the grand finals. Did you have anything you wanted to say as you left off?
Yes, I want to be remembered as the sexiest caster today, even though it's gonna be really hard considering Chris is probably gonna wear his suit. So,
Chris is really handsome. I think you'd struggle. We'll see.
alright, let's break. Yeah,
We're gonna be going to a quick
said
break
it.
now. We'll see you for the finals in about 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly.
I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only one. No one likes being lied to. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I wanna burn all the bridges between us. I can't focus, I can't forget. I've been thinking too much lately. I just need to clear my head. I just need to clear my head. I've been stuck on your memory, but it's not like I need it. And we may have some history, but we don't have to repeat it. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I'm gonna burn all the bridges between us. I can't focus, I can't forget. I've been thinking too much lately. I just need to clear my head. I just need to clear my head.
been chilling, watching the ocean with you. Baby, up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our clouds when people change, but not us. And we just chilling, kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the mall soon. I know she got the good vibes when seasons change, but we're the same. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding. And I'll be running, possessed by a low, low voodoo. Fired up like a wolf on a full moon. And we're stuck in a la la land. The tides will turn without us. And I'll be killing time like I might be a cartoon. Take it in real life like haiku. I know we got the good vibes when pieces fall right into place. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding. Play me like a bass guitar. Simmer down and mash me up. Tripping like I'm Jimmy at Woodstock. Drive me around in your red Ford. Shivers down my spinal cord. Oh, 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 oh. 'Cause you got me holding, holding. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding.
All right,
Well,
no problem.
well,
We can do that.
no time.
Hello there, everyone. The wheel keeps spinning, and Kuro is not here anymore. He needs to catch a very important date, as you might have heard or not. Anyways, well, the grand final is set. The big two are here facing each other. The voices are too loud versus Ataraxia Virtus, who is now emerging from the loser bracket and will get their shot at maybe punching back at this. And you see how stoked these players are, how hot they are to just leash it out here on the server. So we immediately go in, no questions asked, send it to Samoa, let's open the door, let's roll out the red carpet, grand final for Mystical Fire, let's hype it up, people, let's go!
No time to think, no time to breathe. We got a grand finals on our hands. We got 400 euros on the line for first place, and these teams want it. They want it so bad. Remember, yesterday, Voice of Too Loud, they took the upset, the 3-0 victory over Ataraxia Virtus. As we go into our best of 5 grand finals, they're gonna want revenge of Ataraxia Virtus, Will.
That's what they aspire to do. I think they have learned to play against the ball somewhat, against thick of it, even though Gala is the one that, well, ironically is the first one to fall to a ball. But at least you take out Mapsy on the way as well, but Doniki just gets fried. I think it goes back and forth between those teams. Bolo now needs to be careful with Zerial, one of the best tracers in the tournament, is going to take him out as well. So Ataraxia already on the back foot here.
Yeah, Zerail doing a lot of work on the Tracer thus far. They have had practice playing against the Wrecking Ball, but they haven't had practice playing against Simonizer's Wrecking Ball, right? And that is an important distinction, you know? No disrespect to the tank player of Thick of It, but Simonizer is simply built different on this hamster, and Taniki actually, I was going to say barely escaped with their life, but no, it is going to get picked off eventually. First cap goes away, voices are too loud right now. Already Days Drops has gotten up to a pulse bomb, was a standout player in the last series, did do a pretty phenomenal job, and you can see that Gala isn't being allowed to play the game so much, right? When there's a Wrecking Ball, when there's a Tracer, when you're able to contest that Alari, her effectiveness is reduced significantly.
Desriox opens this fight up though with a kill on to the top, but immediately goes back and forth again. Desriox is going to be traded out, but Fever dies in front, and the point has also flipped now towards the pride of the Spanish Peninsula. So, Lazy now a little bit under pressure. Oh, it actually gets out there thanks to Guatemalteco taking the shots here, and actually they get Skialdupa Club out. So, there was a half-baked team fight that also will end up in a little bit of a stagger, which is good for the time bank for Ataraxia Virtus.
We're actually going to be seeing them swap over onto the Brig coming out from the Voice of Too Loud. This is going to apply a lot more pressure onto Lazy, really stop them playing the game. Also trying to help Zerail in those Tracer 1v1s, playing on those angles. Guatemala falls very low before the fight, and it's opened up, of course, with Gala. Of course it's Gala.
Yeah, you go for that, but it was a little bit unlucky because I think Mapsy got pushed into Gala so that Axe Wing would actually hit, not Doniki. Oh, he sees a lot before, but Sam just clicks him out of his life, and Lazy as well. What is going on with that top pick? That's the only team that consistently picks the top over anything else, and it seems like this top is now paying dividends. 50% at least for Ataraxia Virtus before the point flip towards the Voices are too loud here, but it's far from over.
And with 3 divers on the side of Ataraxia Virtus, the top is actually phenomenally strong, right? The turret is such a problem for the Genji and the Tracer to deal with. Not so much for the Wrecking Ball, but Torb can't really easily be locked down, has the ability to just overload, get all that HP back.
Sitting on that pulse bomb, Desriox. See a lot of aggression coming out again from the likes of the Voices are too loud, who are very confident in their abilities. Actually, one of our producers was able to talk to some members right after the tournament yesterday, and they were so confident about winning this tournament actually against these big hitters of Ataraxia Virtus. And so far, not looking too bad. We also have to take a look at, well, the check marks, and would you look at that? They don't really look that good, and Doniki, for some reason, also keeps out the top. Yeah.
Taniki Torbjorn is a crazy choice right here. I guess it's something else that can deal with the Wrecking Ball, and Brig's actually going to be taken out before the fight even begins, so this should be a relatively convincing flip, especially with Taniki going through. Mapsy decides, hey, I want to rampage this anyway. You are able to get 2 kills off the back of it, and Gala is going to be chased to hell and high heaven. So the cap comes through here for Ataraxia Virtus, but the war is not over yet, and that could be going in the favor of Voice of Too Loud.
could go as they now flip the point, even though the kills they keep coming in for the likes of Ataraxia Virtus. There's also the swap from Guatemala onto the Zarya, but gets immediately killed. Both tanks are already in the dust. Gala tries to clutch things up here, but it doesn't look too well as the rest of the DPS line is now dead. Nobody is there to touch, obviously. So, Beach is done with the voices are too loud, again emerging victorious. Ataraxia Virtus needs to find something in this the voices are too loud team. It is just so mind-boggling how they can keep getting away with this. But I would say, with how the game went yesterday, there is a little change of pace. I would really say that the team of Ataraxia Virtus is somewhat up for the challenge now, and Toniki will try it out. They will try to mirror somewhat that comp of the voices are too loud, and Toniki will probably stick to this Torbjorn. I think they realized how much stability that actually brings, but it seems like they actually opt to something different. And May.
I mean, the Mei is a pretty good anti-dive character. You can definitely deal with these divers quite effectively. Of course, slow the ball during their roll-throughs, mess up with that momentum could always be a big deal. Your walls, you might struggle to really catch anyone out with them, except maybe if you're lucky, the Junker Queen. But the walls aren't really going to be the value of the Mei. It's going to be the anti-dive potential.
And immediately the voices are too loud. They take their territory, but not without any resistance, because actually there's 2 kills coming out from Ataraxia Virtus. Still, overall, it's still this overwhelming pace that the voices are too loud are playing that. Well, Ataraxia Virtus just can't really keep up with. Again, they just get squashed here on Volcano. First point percentage will go to the voices are too loud, to, well, the Dark Horse that has been emerging throughout this tournament. They have been playing a fantastic Swiss stage. The only team that they have not beaten was Ataraxia Virtus, and now with, well, this tournament developing, it seems like they are the real favorites. They are the team to beat now.
Yeah, it makes you think how they actually lost that matchup in the first place, right? As these teams still posturing, ball positioning. The hit comes through from Lazy, gets a lot of shielding. The ball is being ignored, and the point flip actually does go the way of Ataraxia Virtus briefly. That stick hits nothing but net, but it gets the kill anyway. Job is done.
Yeah, the pulse bomb with a splash damage will get the necessary kill. You still get the kill onto Sam, even though you lose Toniki as well on the way. So Ataraxia Virtus again down in numbers, but they could make this happen. But of course, the first target to go on is the support line here. Gala and Bolo almost die at the same time, and there you go. These few percentage that you could get. Oh, okay. That will. I mean, you can actually fall down there, so that would have been interesting if Simonizer actually drops into the lava and just dies immediately. But like this, well, there's now a chance for the DPS maybe to shine. Gala as well, there's a potential for a Captain Sun coming up very, very soon, but both tanks, Summoners and Mapsy with a minefield, with a rampage. We know how strong the Queen is, and as we are speaking, Mapsy sends it. He has licked the step beforehand. Pulse Bomb attempt doesn't get anything here from Daystriox. Toniki can get his Mei ultimate out, secure the kill onto Sam, and the DPS are doing such a great job on Ataraxia's side that they should be able to stabilize here and get the necessary kills. There is the try of Guatemalteco to get some pressure onto Skaldupa Club, which is exactly going to happen at this moment, but it is not over yet. Still, the point is going to be flipped, but Mapsy gets the Gala.
Yeah, Max against Gala, that could prove a problem if this fight ends up becoming extended. Sam also coming up to that Molten Core, and it's actually going to have it enabled by the Orbital Ray as well. Make sure that Lava Pool deals insane damage. We're not actually benefiting from the healing, not going far enough forward. Daydot can get the kill there, but Lazy, again, you overstep your boundaries for a second too long on ball. You're just going to get snatched up. Voice it too loud, looking to close off this point. Beautiful stick. But the kill not coming through was Suzu'd up.
No avail. Just set Gala now with the Kiriko swap. They're gonna engage it with a rally. Polo wants to get some pressure onto the front line. Sends in Lazy, who goes in with a slam, hits many people, and this Riox just has to sweep in and get a kill, and that is still Skaldupa Club. That is something that you like to see if you're rooting for Ataraxia, who now have to get this point back. But Mapsy sees a chance here, sends the rampage in. Dace Riox gets Sam, but both tops will be traded out here in the end. No more Swedish tomfoolery for now, at least, from the tops. And other than that, Fever's already dead. Mapsy as well, so there's gonna be the collapse of Ataraxia Virtus. Should take this back, it seems like, but still, there is gonna be some fight left. Also, in Simonizer tries to get as much time out as he can. Zero's also around, but now there is indeed gonna be the flip in the end and the kill onto Simonizer.
wouldn't you know, Swedish tomfoolery is my favorite kind of tomfoolery, but you know, the early pick onto Sam was very strong there for the Ataraxia Virtus side. Now they have the Kitsune rush of their own. Gala charging that up in one fight is going to be very good. They can go early with this, play tempo, and have the minefield on their side as well. The Simonizer just goes first with his.
Simonizer rolls through. See when he finds a target, at least will force the recall, but Skjaldupa Club has fallen in the frontline war here against Toniki. I think Toniki has just realized how good that top actually is, but Zerial will stick the pulse bomb to Guatemalteco's face, who just blows up. And now you have no Sigma here, so Ataraxia not looking too fancy in that terms, but they still have control of the point, and Daestriox is looking to get this pulse bomb. Maybe look for a target here. What are you going to do? Maybe onto the top, but that pulse bomb does find absolutely nothing. You force at least the recall here. Skjaldupa Club in rally, trying to eke it out onto Toniki, but drops extremely low, and Lazy will take up that kill. Toniki falls, though, through maps. He's Sam extremely low here. Guatemalteco tries with the flux, doesn't hit anything. Oh, mighty hits Simonizer and Sam, though, with the hyperspheres. It is a slaughter. It is a fantastic answer of Ataraxia Virtus against the voices are too loud. We have a grand final on our hands, even though it's not over yet. Now finally they will fall here, and Ataraxia Virtus will equalize.
Oh my god. I mean, Guatemalteco misses with that flux entirely, but is able to get the damage done with just the regular hyperspheres anyway, right? Says, I don't need the ultimate to win this fight. I'm just going to play the neutral. It just uses it to assert dominance on the enemy team before deciding, okay, I've had enough. Time to win now. And now we come over to the final point of Samoa to work with. And I think that these teams are sort of sussing out their compositions now. Tanigi wants to stick on this Torbjorn. You're able to, you know, be so self-sufficient. You're able to continually mark out the Tracer, mark out the Wrecking Ball with the turret. Gala on the Kiriko as well is going to be very survivable in the face of those divers. You're not really going to have to worry too much about peeling for that Kiriko. Or, yeah, I was going to say, Lucio's just to get out of spawn quick.
Yeah, just for the speed, but oh my, talking about speed. Now that was a speedy kill on today's Rio. So Lazy is dead as well immediately. So Ataraxia Virtus, they haven't really exited the spawn in their mind probably and already got squashed. So that's quite the statement of the voices are too loud. They realize we have to do maybe something to the mental. That's gonna be some early picks here. Point also gonna be capped. And another setup phase for Ataraxia Virtus to see what they can do on this point.
You see the Simonizer is trying to go on another angle with the first cap being taken away, voice are too loud, and the issue is in all that time it took for you to set up, your backline was just collapsed upon by the rest of Ataraxia Virtus. They're feeling confident, they're getting better in this series at just going first, walking onto the enemy backline and realizing that, hey, when you have another tank on the team, you can sort of just do that.
I find that interesting to now compare these teams. I mean, the DPS lineup, we see Sam is actually going to opt onto the Symmetra, which is obviously going to be more targeted towards Guatemalteco, because the Sigma certainly doesn't enjoy being beamed at close range. But also, the turrets you set up might be an issue for Daestriox, so there's that. But immediately they're going to send it there with the speed in. Mapsy just finds a target, will find Gala as well. Simonizer doesn't spare Toniki at all, and Zerial with a quick two-piece on his hand. So the voices are too loud. Before any analysis can finish, these guys are already on the point. That's their territory. Gotta flip it. 33% and counting right now, but 27 for Ataraxia Virtus. So it's a back and forth, a ping pong match.
Yeah, it really is going so back and forth, and now the ults are also looking pretty even for these teams. 2 minefields, 2 pulse bombs, and you do have the advantage with the Kitsune Rush for Ataraxia Virtus. If you want to use it aggressively, you certainly can.
Would you look at that? Sam and Mapsy are out, and also that's a rampage into the bin. So perfect situation for Ataraxia Virtus, who could be back here. Simonizer, he somehow seems to be flying under the radar. I think that compositional advantage is now showing. Toniki with that Torbjorn. I think everybody has underestimated the Torbjorn in the value he brings. Toniki isn't even too flashy on his kills. He just keeps on surviving so much and being such an issue for Zerial trying to swoop in to pick anything up that Simonizer is setting up. And now we see many more ultimates in play. There's going to be the pulse bomb deployed. Toniki will get out of range with that. Already a lot of pressure onto Gala and Polo, who have to defend against the ball. And Lazy is the one to get the kill onto Sam and also onto Skaldupa Club. Orbiter Ray is going to be sent in for Fever. They will try to get this out with the damage, with the healing this provides. But you see at the Raxavirtus, they are kiting this correcting spikes while still making sure that the point is contested in their favor. So we see another swap. Guatemalteco now onto the Orisa.
I mean, the Orisa is sort of just a nuclear option here. You're going to be very tanky. You're going to maybe you're going to lack a bit of sort of synergy with the Wrecking Ball, but you can try and, you know, spear out the other Wrecking Ball, fortified, stop yourself getting booped around a whole lot. Right now, these shots can close the fight with the Pulse Bomb. It's not going to do a lot, but it does force an early Immortality field. And mines are going to be out on point from Simonizer.
Trying to get out of for somebody has to touch now, because we will be sent into overtime. Also, the window through the side of the point gonna be an issue here, obviously, and you immediately feel that with Sam getting the kill onto Lazy, but he will be traded out. Wait a second, this is how fast the kills can happen here. Gala with 2 kills on that. Kiriko still showing off that Kiriko, despite of being out of the meta for 6v6 in this version of the patch, is actually quite the great character. Ataraxavirtus is on the brink of closing out this map, and it's gonna be reality now. 2-1, an absolute blockbuster, absolute cinema of a map we could see unfold here. This is a grand final, ladies and gentlemen. That's only the first map.
I'm calling it now. We're seeing 5 maps, right? These teams are so close, so evenly contested, and there's so little that really separates them in these chaotic fights. Ultimately, it was the stylistic swaps that Ataraxavirtus have made since yesterday, which worked out well for them, going over to the Torbjorn, going over to the Kiriko, going over to those characters who are very self-sufficient, who can't be felled as easily. Even the Orisa at the very end, it was a bit of a Hail Mary, but I mean, you know, very, very survivable, very, very tanky. It's all about just not necessarily trying to kill the ball outright or counter them outright, but just play characters that can ignore them, right? And characters like a Kiriko and a Torbjorn, they are spectacular, just ignoring the ball completely, getting their value elsewhere onto the rest of the team. And suddenly, what the hell can Simonizer do? Is so used to having all eyes looking at him the entire game. Now they're focused on the rest of his team, and Simonizer cannot do a damn thing about it.
That's so clever. I love this adaptation of Ataraxavirtus. They have done their homework yesterday. They have thought, how the hell could we drop this series? How could we lose against the Voices Are Too Loud so convincingly while stomping our way through the Swiss stage? And they might have found an answer right here. Toniki, it's really weird to see Toniki on the Torbjorn. If you have seen his streams, I'm not even sure if he touches Torbjorn outside of the practice range. And here we see him actually rocking the character, being a stabilizing backbone for the team. Also, Gala whipping out the Kiriko, which, as said, actually in this version of 6v6, isn't too great of a character outside of the Kitsune Rush, but of course in the capable hand of Gala. This can still mean a lot. And this composition is, of course, something that the Voices Are Too Loud have to get used to. And, well, they have to on a map we haven't seen on stream throughout the entire tournament. We are going to be sent to Shambhali Monastery by the Voices Are Too Loud. Escort, first and foremost. Kind of underrated, that game mode here in 6v6. And also a map we are not used to seeing, my dear friend Ekta.
Yeah, I don't think we have, at least personally, I have not seen this map come out during this... Haven't seen this map come out during the tournament thus far.
Me neither.
I don't think that we're going to have a huge difference in styles. I'm surprised it's a pick from Voices Too Loud. Now, I mean, they're going to default to Rainbow anyway. That's just what they do. But this map doesn't seem on paper spectacular for it. You know, that first point is just sort of one long lane. Ball does a lot better when there's lots of different flank angles. Yeah, there's lots of high ground, the ability to... The map doesn't necessarily need to have verticality, it just needs a lot of angles and a lot of little alleyways and little sort of narrow places to hide in. which this map doesn't really have all that much of. It's very one-dimensional for the most part. Ataraxia Virtus going on their attack round. I wonder if they're going to commit to this Orisa, because they did pick it at the end of the last map. It seemed to work, at least, for that one fight. Can it work for several?
Also, we see Daisy Riox with a different plan here. We're gonna see a Hanzo actually coming out. Maybe for something like a pop shot, we see him spam towards that high ground. Obviously, it's gonna be the position that you want to defend. As the likes of the voices are too loud, they have to make sure that this high ground is contested, because it is such a fantastic position to poke from. But on the other half, Guatemalteco already drops very low, has to use cooldowns to get out. Here somehow will be alive, and Bolo dies early though, so not the worst start for the voices are too loud.
No, definitely not the worst start for the time being. I mean, yeah, definitely not the worst start. I'm so sorry, my feed is falling very far behind. I'm struggling to catch up with the action.
No problem. So, still a good defense so far for the voices are too loud. A little bit of a spam, at least you get the turret down. But that's now the question. How do you really engage this? You have a lot of space that on the likes of the voices are too loud, and you need to find a target somehow. But now with less aggression coming out from Ataraxia Virtus due to their composition, there's not much you can do really. But with the Kitsune Rush, obviously there is something that you can use to get onto it. So maybe there's a chance. Yes, there is. You see the Baptiste out of position. You get Skaldupa Club out. You also isolate the rest of the squishies from the tank line, and that is exactly what Ataraxia Virtus will collapse on as they immediately react. Orisa, also a character that we haven't seen too much in the 6v6 environment, is actually looking quite handy.
But this is the time to be a bit of a trendsetter, right? It's the grand finals. If you had someone in your back pocket for Ataraxia Virtus, by sure get it out now. You do fall incredibly low on the Orisa. You do have the Terror Surge available. And in the meantime, Simonizer falls into a really weird spot on the Wrecking Ball, just about able to live. And in the meantime, Mapsy gets the value on the Junk Queen. Reinforced with an Orbital Ray as well means that you're going to get the hold for a little bit longer for Voicer too loud.
Yeah, for more than just that, you will win the team fight out after all. But with a heavy investment, at least on... Actually, I take that back. They still have like 4 check marks, while Ataraxia has to work on theirs a little bit. So maybe they actually overinvested that 1.5 minutes still available to them. Zerial looking onto that blade. Doesn't have a orbital rate to back that up though. Still, of course, Naked Blade could be a thing here, but lots of damage already pumped onto Polo, and Zerial is going to be sent to the backline. Of course, he will try to get the brick first, and we will succeed in doing so, just to slice up the horse right after that. Guatemalteco sent into the grave, and not the worst position for them, as also Doniki now uses his Molten Core, but nothing can be really done with it. Down to a minute. I think I'm honestly agreeing with you. I would absolutely sign that one, that this could be a 5-mapper, because we see that back and forth now going the way of the voices are too loud here. But still, it's not over. 50 seconds still to go, but not much left in the tank for Ataraxia.
Yeah, and Taniki only used that ult to have to swap, right? It was a great window in the last fight. We're going to see an aggressive engage from Ataraxia Virtus. They're using all of their Q buttons at once. The Junker Queen Rampage does come through, and Gala is in the Kitsune Rush, but isn't able to get the Suzus back in time, or at least the rest of Ataraxia Virtus to split to benefit from that at all. In the meantime, it's going to be, the little 2-man run from the Genji and the Wrecking Ball onto the backliners of Ataraxia Virtus. It's going to be working out well, as we have only 10 seconds left on the clock now, and this last Wrecking Ball is going to be going down. And what do you even do for Ataraxia Virtus now?
Funny enough, Guatemalteco still stays true to the Orisa. I mean, he will make it on to... Oh, the pulse bomb attempt. Will he get any kills? It will not, but Guatemalteco will go down, and all this tide of bullets. Doniki, just touches last second, but immediately will be hunted. Gala gets the kill onto Zerial, so both Genjis are out. Still, doesn't really matter, because the voices are too loud and definitely up in numbers, as they also boot Lazy away, who came in late, obviously, since he got staggered. The Gala also will die here, so nothing left of Ataraxia Virtus in this situation. A full hold in the end, a far push into first point with 100 meters on the clock. But that's about it. That's all you get for Ataraxia. Now you have to defend against this the Voices are too loud team that have the confidence, that have the talent, that have the plan, and you can see why they picked Shambali Monastery in those enclosed quarters. It's just not easy to attack in these cases.
I want to give a whole load of credit to the backline of Voice of Too Loud there, right? Specifically Scald on the BAP. I mean, like so many of those attacks were just hamstrung by charging a window or poking out before the fight, and I mean, Guatemalteco was very insistent on this Orisa for a while, but with all of that open space to cross against the BAP and the Juno, who are dealing that much insane damage to the Orisa as they try and walk forward with the rest of the team, it meant the Guatemalteco was just getting caught out in fight after fight, and it was specifically because of those backliners. And we see that Guatemalteco, no longer a horse believer, has been kicked off of the horse council, is now on the Dutch council. I'm not sure if that's a better or worse thing to be on. It's definitely gonna make sense on the defensive side. At least to give yourself that shield, and you got a hell of a hold to pull off now if you're Ataraxia Virtus.
I find that interesting because I think this map is heavily defender sided, especially with all these compositions that we see here, where aggression is not really the biggest thing, as you need a lot of spatial advantage to do so. And on Shambali Monastery, managing exactly that is the problem here, where I also think that Ataraxia might have not taken the right side to begin on, because they had the pick on the sides here. The map was picked by the Voices Are Too Loud. So for now, I'm not really sure if I agree with this. Still, gonna be a push going on. They're all trapped in this little room, but of course we don't really have the resource. Good, nice move attempt onto Fever. Simonizer actually drops extremely low, and Dace3ox will get the kill before the ball gets onto the heal pack. So gonna be quite the issue for them, as also Guatemalteco will take Skial Dupa Club. So this first team fight is over.
Yeah, and people forget that Tracer is a pretty decent matchup into the ball, right? They synergize so well together, but they also sort of counter each other in that sense, where as ball, you're used to sort of just going where you want uncontested. Sure, once you're in the enemy team, maybe they have CC for you, but if you're just going on your own adventure, no one's chasing you, except for a Tracer, one of the few characters in the game who has the damage and mobility to constantly pass the ball. And you can see right now that they are just putting this Tracer on ball duty.
Yeah, you pretty much do to Simonizer what you would do to any Tracer to mark them. It's going to be now the Kitsune Rush coming out from Gala on main, so you make sure that everyone has a dandy fire rate. But Mapsy gets a kill onto Lazy, but Dace3ox with a fantastic pulse bomb setup onto Fever and Zerial. The player of the hour here. It seems like we have already said how much he was under the radar during the Swiss stage phase, but now in the playoffs, Dace3ox is truly coming alive.
Yeah, Dace3ox is really popping off right now, being a little bit of a nutcase for Ataraxia Virtus. Definitely kept them in that with the 2k Pulse Bomb, and now that's allowed Ataraxia Virtus to charge up to some more ultimates. They're taking an early fight in this room here, and this flux could be massive.
Oh, it absolutely will be. There's 3 people, and also the magma and the mines. What a death trap. Is this Indiana Jones or something? Why are there so many deadly traps on the floor there? That was almost comical, but it was well executed there. Kind of, maybe, investment heavy, but honestly, we have been talking about the ball ult being easy to charge, but, well, that leaves Ataraxia only with 1 ultimate, and that's going to be the rally, while on the other side, well, you're looking at almost 6 of them.
Yeah, and it's going to be the blade that's popped in this small room, slicing and dicing through, slicing and dicing through, and yeah, there we have it. The Brig goes down, I mean, the Kiri goes down, Torp goes down, and they all just fall down for the Ataraxia Virtus side. And interesting enough, Voice of Too Loud, very disciplined with their ults there, only using the 1 Genji ult to actually win out that fight. Now, Ataraxia Virtus, they do have another fight here. They do have the rally online. They're going to get another minefield, and they sort of need magic to happen with this Pulse Bomb again, but Dace3ox is in such a dangerous position, can't get staggered out this late. Oh my...
Oh, okay. Oh! At least, well, you force a trade in that case. Mapsy will sending the rampage initially onto Polo, who is in rally and will be caught out here. Of course, you want to send the Kitsune Rush in, because remember, they didn't push that far. At least they get the kill onto Mapsy. Window is also going to be deployed by Skial Dupa Club, so a lot of more damage here. Simonizer drops extremely low now out of sight here of Gala, so he can't really poke on here. Gala needs to make some heroics here, potentially, but now through the orbital array, it's not gonna be that possible. And now with Ziria getting the kill on today's Reox, you have that pesky tracer off your shoulders. In the terms of the voices are too loud, you get the kill onto Simonizer though, and Guatemalteco is already back. So there's gonna be a chance to recruit. That's wait. Oh, I was about to say there's gonna be the Ryan, but Guatemalteco needs to hit that flux. It needs to be a large one, which is now gonna happen. He's gonna lift up the Ryan, but he's gonna get poked as well. Lamp is out early. Mapsy drops extremely low. The pin will hit Lazy here, but it doesn't matter. Ataraxia Virtus. Vamos, señoras y señores, aquí estamos. What a win here for Ataraxia Virtus.
The fuller hold comes through from Ataraxia Virtus, and they put themselves on match point against the Voice of Too Loud. This was a foregone conclusion. This was one for Ataraxia Virtus. We were getting ready for, at least loading into our fourth map of the day. But no, apparently not. Ataraxia Virtus, they just politely refuse. They say, "Excuse me, sir, I want to win the grand finals." The Voice Too Loud were like, "Oh, yes, good chap, we shall do that." And then all of a sudden, Ataraxia Virtus, they just go absolutely crazy. They pop off when they need to the most. I mean, the swap from Guatemala onto the Sigma was integral. The guy went nuts, but Dazed Riox really took over that round on the Tracer, was constantly coming up clutch with those huge plays. The synergy was on point. Yes, there was a little bit of an over investment maybe for one of the fights, but aside from that, Ataraxia Virtus essentially played to perfection. And I mean, they did play to perfection. They got a full hold, a fuller hold even.
And that's what I find so insane about the series right now. It's again super close between these two teams. Samoa was already an absolute banger to watch. Then we got Shambali Monastery, which looked very grim at first for Ataraxia Virtus. And then the Spaniards, they hit back, they hit where it hurts. And well, they get this fuller hold. They actually make this happen. And I was actually doubting it at first, but wow. Okay, I am really convinced now. Ataraxia Virtus in a fantastic position in that 2-0. They have now 3 match points in total that the Voices Are Too Loud need to defend against. And they're going to have another map pick. Controls out the window. Escort out is the window. The Voices Are Too Loud needs to pick a map, and they already opted for one. They will go for Midtown. Now, Ekdar, what do you think about that?
Midtown's an interesting choice. It wouldn't be my first thought to be the strongest point for a Wrecking Ball. It's one where range DPS are going to be strong, at least in theory. But I feel like in 6-6, when there are 2 tanks, that range DPS can sort of struggle a little bit. When there are, generally as a DPS, you're going to be contested either by the DPS or the enemy tank, right? Now, when there are 2 enemy tanks, 2 potential things, let's say there's a Sigma or a Wrecking Ball, okay, well, either the ball's going to jump on me and I can coach gun away if I'm an Ashe, or the Sig's going to shield me off, but I can always reposition or help break shield a little bit. When there's a Sig shield in your face and a ball jumping on you as a long-range hit scan DPS, then all of a sudden you think, well, why? Let's just cut out the middleman and I just go something like a Tracer or a Genji, so I can just get past the tanks and go straight onto the backline where I should be, getting my value, getting my kills. So interesting that this was picked from Voice Are Too Loud. I mean, we know the rough tank lines that we're going to be seeing, some variation of the Wrecking Ball Sigma, maybe a Zarya, maybe a Junker Queen, but Junker Queen might be a tad inadvisable on some of these points, given how much open space there is. I think the biggest change is the biggest amount of flexibility depends on what DPS we end up seeing, to be honest.
Yep, and we will see so next. But interestingly, I'm not sure with a Junker Queen. I wouldn't be surprised if Mapsy will actually force it, because that wouldn't be the first time we see him pick the Junker Queen here on Midtown. Once you can close the distance and you can use the alleyways to approach the enemy team, at least here on first point, there's a chance that you still get the necessary pick-offs to make the Queen work at some point, but we'll see. We also saw a little bit of Mapsy Diva here and there in that case, and I think for Lazing Guatemalteco, yeah, that's a clear one. Guatemalteco really warmed up on the Sigma today, so definitely more of a comfort pick here. And would you look at that? I was proven wrong. Mapsy will choose the Zarya instead, which of course makes sense in these scenarios, and especially in defense. very strong actually, since you can bubble the ball, you can bubble whatever is maybe in trouble. And as we saw and heard earlier, Zarya is not doing too shabby in this version of 6v6.
No, not at all. You're able to enable so many people by way of those bubbles, being able to enable your other tank, especially a Wrecking Ball, to go for the slam, go for the engage. The main point here is that you need some kind of shielding or some kind of personal protection on first point. So the Sigma Shield from Ataraxia Virtus makes sense. The bubbles from Voice of Too Loud also makes sense if you can just play around cover in their own ways. Let's see how this rotation from Ataraxia Virtus goes.
Try to make it quick here by just going through the choke here under the subway bridge, but with the Deco already under a lot of pressure there. Okay, the railing is being troublesome for him to clear that turret. I know. Happens to the best of us, so...
Oh,
as that. Oh, Simon as it goes into the back, just chasing his counterpart. Lazy will be taken out. So that's already a very good start, also by getting the best player on the team of Ataraxia Virtus. Wink, wink. It's going to be the turret here. And also Gala right after that. So that's already a lot of time down the Bryn.
yeah, it's not just the fact that this fight is won for Voice of Too Loud, but how long it took for the Staggers to come out, right? It feels like the kill onto the Torb came through about 20 seconds after the kill onto the Wrecking Ball initially, right? And so now all of a sudden, we are looking already over a minute has been burnt off the time bank. The tempo very much in the favor of Voice of Too Loud.
Interestingly, we see a swap on Guatemala Deco right after that. It's going to be the Diva. Usually everyone would say, well, into the Zarya, not the best idea. And Bolo was trying to go into the washing machine room, but immediately got picked off by Sam with all of this damage coming in. Days Riox, but he's setting up maybe for flank here. And trying to find a pickup, but of course it's not going to be too easy with a turret around. You want the access onto the Ana. You lose Lazy in front, but at least you can bring Zerial to the grave with a Kitsune Rush. There might be a winnable scenario as Mapsy drops extremely low, somehow still alive as he makes it back to Skaldupa Club, but Fever will get picked off in exchange. Skaldupa Club now looking at a Nano. Zerial also will come back with a Blade, so there is a chance for a Nano Blade to happen.
Yeah, the Blade comes through and it's gonna sort of find its mark initially, being able to catch out the Brig, but after that, trading the picks back, they're actually able to get a Zarya and the Ana out of this. Ataraxia Virtus, I think they're just going to be able to take the point outright, regardless.
So low, the first point is gone, and Zerial, that was a nice try on that Nano Blade, but let's call it that. It was a nice try. Unfortunately, there was not much of gain from this Nano Blade, interestingly, so kind of screwed up his dash in between. So there's that. 4 minutes still on the clock. Lots of momentum. Around 4, almost 5 ultimates we count in Gala's Kitsune Rush available. So Ataraxia not doing too bad. Let's see where this confidence is. Though the pulse bomb onto Mapsy will miss, but a lot of charge already onto Mapsy. Will now use that grab. There's going to be a lot of people in that, and with a Molten Core, it's going to be an absolute death trap here. The bomb also gonna be used for Guatemala Deco. They want to make sure to stay in the fight now since Skaldupa Club is dead, and there's a good chance to do so.
Yeah, and it was the combination play there. It wasn't just the grab, but popped the Molten Core on top of that as well. And that's how the fight win was. Well, I say that's how the fight was achieved for Voice of Too Loud. Where Ataraxia Virtus, they're able to get a lot of picks at the end of the fight, and they're still pushing the car pretty solidly. Feminizer goes for a pretty nice slam, and Gala is going to be taken out on the Kiriko. Should spell the end of the Virtus push for now.
Still fighting back, and Simonizer actually drops extremely low, but thanks to his team, he will come back, and Maps and Sam, of course, they will not spare anyone if they can. Interestingly, though, they lose Sam in front. Zerial will send it in, and the Blade will be very effective. He has at least 3 kills. He will be taken out, but that doesn't matter. The damage is already done, and Ataraxia Virtus needs to reset.
You can see the amount of pressure that Ataraxia Virtus are applying, because yes, the Voice Too Loud won that fight, but realistically there was no reason to Blade there. It was a good clip, but they were all stuck in a small room. They weren't really a threat. You already had picks on your side, but you commit anyway. Yes, you charge ults quickly in 6v6. Yes, you can throw them out a bit more liberally, but maybe this is just a little bit too liberal for my liking.
Rush, immediately minefield as well. You want to get them out of the space. You want to make sure that touching the point is going to be as awkward as possible. Nano will be deployed here onto Simonizer, but you lose Zero in front. At least you get Guatemalteco out of his mech, though. Mapsy will take that damage willingly, obviously, to get himself a little bit of charge. Guatemalteco still looking for the remag, is not gonna do so because Simonizer is just Simonizing everyone with his magic. So the ball, again, not looking too bad for the Voices Are Too Loud. They're gonna defend for now. Less than 100 seconds left for Ataraxia, Virtus, and Guatemalteco also is gonna mirror the pick from Maps. We're gonna see a Zarya also from Ataraxia.
Yeah, and the grab is online for Mapsy. That is always a very strong way to keep yourself in a fight, keep yourself... That is your win condition, and you have the combination as well. You have to be careful not to die. Mapsy looks like they could be overstaying their welcome a little bit, and Trace is actually going to get caught out in the fight there. Rally was invested from Ataraxia Virtus, who they're still trying to push this, and it feels like that they are doing well, but not quite well enough, and oh my god, that is so much damage.
That's such a brutal combo instantly onto the tanks. Interestingly, Mapsy will fall here still without a tank line. It will be mighty bad for Ataraxia to push any further, so they will run for the hills. Reset again, down to 40 seconds. Now, of course, the pressure will be raining down on you without the time bank to really afford to build up more ultimates than you currently have. But there is a chance, of course, to make this happen. Gala's Kitsune Rush could be a clutch here. Maybe you will make a pick up. Mapsy also with a Winston pick, something that you don't see in this tournament too often, but so many ultimates also available for the likes of the Voices Are Too Loud, and they're gonna send it in. Simonizer immediately with the minefield, gonna get the kill on today's Reox. Yeah, and Syria though will be shut down. So does Mapsy. Wait a minute, it is kind of equal here. It's still very possible for Ataraxia to push through, but Bolo immediately gets squashed by Sam and Simonizer, keeping the point busy, and Lazy was able to literally just touch. Minefield will be deployed. You want to get the Torp out. Eats a lot of damage, but still gets through this minefield. Nano just at the right timing. Doniki was able to get a bit out of his Molten Core, but immediately gets shut down, and alongside him the rest of his team. So another push done, and it looks fantastic for the Voices Are Too Loud. But we said the same about them in Shambhadi Monastery, and look at that. So never count out Ataraxia.
It felt like the ults just came out at the perfect time for the Voice Are Too Loud, right? You know, Ataraxia, they were doing fine. They really didn't have a bad attack round at all. It was just when it really came down to it, every time that they pushed in with their ult and they were able to get a couple of picks, well, Voice Are Too Loud, they were able to just find some kind of magic and able to bring it back for them. And maybe it's a case of maybe how quickly these ults are being charged up for Ataraxia. Maybe the case of Voice Too Loud just charging theirs faster, but the point is they just have them when they need them, and they're getting a bit more value out of them.
Very interesting that Guatemalteco is opting to stick to the D.Va. Obviously, there's a little problem with D.Va when you play her on defense in these cases, because obviously the attacker will have the spawn advantage, and well, D.Va is kind of easy to counter with lots of beam damage. And remember, Guatemalteco will have less HP on his mech, and the enemy is already coming with a Zarya. Mapsy is ready to beam him down, and I'm not sure if I'm really the biggest friend of this attempt to make the D.Va work. Wasn't really sure if that was getting the value you were really expecting, but let's roll it out. Other than that, not really any swaps outside of Sam with a Symmetra. So there might be a TP play coming in. We've seen some TP plays exactly into this building, usually into the window here, and they will make it through. There was almost a kill onto Skaldupa Club, but they won't succeed in doing so.
No, but they are going to succeed in counteracting onto the Tracer briefly. Ataraxia Virtus, they're getting the initial picks that they have to, and this cheeky little Symmetra play from Voice Are Too Loud seems to have been all but quashed. It's a very shock and awe type strategy where against experienced teams it's really not going to work all that well, because ultimately Symmetra doesn't have that much effective range. Like, you get the gimmicky TP off and then you're sort of all trapped in a small room. Ataraxia Virtus going to be very happy taking that first fight win.
And 1 minute of the clock as well. Some old advantage already. Dace Reox close to a pulse bomb. That's something that you like to see if you're rooting for the Spanish pride here. Let's see, that's going to be the engage now. Aggression from Simonizer with a bubble in. Shouldn't be too much charge here. Attempt from Days3ox to get some pressure, but gets immediately marked though, and doesn't have the recall here. It will be chased down by Zerial, who's very strong on that Tracer, as we already know. And now there's going to be the question if they can keep up the pressure. Kitsune Rush will be deployed. Of course, you want to put the pressure onto that little room, but Guatemalteco, after getting the kill onto Mapsy, will be demech though, so you kind of trade tanks here. Polo drops a little low. It's gonna be a little duel here for the ages. That took a little while between the two Kirikos and an extra diva here in the end, but Ataraxia Virtus will in fact win this team fight out. And well, remember, this is match point. If Ataraxia Virtus wins this, they win the grand final and they win the entire Mystical Fire tournament.
The Voice of Too Loud really did have that fight with the strength of a cornered animal, but it ultimately wasn't enough. Minefield is here from both of these ball players. See which one can get more value. See the Kitsune Rush come in. Voice of Too Loud. Such an overwhelming ult advantage in this fight to work with.
Bomb's gonna be used here to reset Zerial already with a fantastic pick onto Toniki. That is an anti-dive character they take out. Days3ox dead as well, so good chances maybe to bring this back, but Mapsy will drop extremely low. Orbital Ray was deployed, but the Zarya was too proud of it, so that is not the perfectly placed one. Still, it is possible maybe to come back because Guatemalteco drops extremely low also thanks to that turret. Just keeping also Polo busy, who is extremely low, needs to disengage. It's just fine as he will receive the healing of Gala on the other side of the point. And still, after all of this, somehow all of this fantastic advantage that the Voices Are Too Loud had is down the drain.
That Orbital Ray is so confusing to me. The fight was taking place on the point and it just got chucked away from the point. Meant that the Voices Too Loud couldn't really benefit off of that. And then credit to Ataraxia Virtus coming down from that, deficit in the fight to win. Early grab out is here from the Zarya.
It needs to do that as well, but Guatemalteco will need a lot of help here and just survive through it. But Mapsy goes after Guatemalteco and will get him out of map. Kitsune Rush though instantly pops, so you will make sure that you're not too much in the bad here. You try to kite it out, but it's down to 30 seconds. You still have some time to kite this, but Toniki gets a very crucial pick onto Mapsy, but Gala is dead as well. Without the Kiriko, well, Polo will have a lot of trouble to keep this entire team healthy, and he's of course aware of that. Immediately though, Lazy with a minefield, getting the kill onto Sam. Skaldupa Club drops extremely low, but will still be alive. Zerial steals the health back, and Lazy will be chased to the end of the earth. And there's going to be the pulse bomb though, which will get Guatemalteco out of the mech. And still, there is some fight left in this team of the Voices Are Too Loud. They will make this happen for now. The first point, it should be at least. Toniki though fights back, gets the kill onto Zerial, and Polo will also jump onto it. It might still not be over now that I think about it. Just don't C9, please. That would be, please, not like this moment, but Lazy still fighting here. But the rest of the team, the Voices Are Too Loud, is already there. Stabilization is achieved, and that's gonna be at the first point is capped. But such a headache, and only 2.5 minutes to push.
That late kill onto the Tracer and the Wrecking Ball means that you're going to get a little bit of push, a little bit of opportunity to push out. If you can take this initial high ground Voice Too Loud, that is spectacular for you. And Days3ox actually swaps over to the Cassidy. Recognizes that there's a Doomfist and a Wrecking Ball on the other side. That flashbang can get double the value for the price of one. You want to take this high ground again for Ataraxia Virtus. This point is so difficult to push at the best of times. Rally is traded out for the Orbital Ray.
Also like this tactic to set down that Magma everywhere, so nobody can really follow the Orbital Ray. That was a clever turn of Toniki to keep everyone out of this Orbital Ray. So perfectly done. Still, Simonizer sees some blood in the water. Mapsy goes after him, who has a very good Doomfist. Guatemalteco immediately, actually survives that. He should be able to block that. Exactly that's what's gonna happen, but Kitsune Rush also out from Gala. That is a fantastic move indeed, and right into Mapsy's fist. And he's gonna punch the people around. And would you look at that, the Voices Are Too Loud with a fantastic answer to Ataraxia Virtus' place.
Getting dangerously close to final fight territory here, and Ataraxia Virtus decide they are going to pull out all the stops. They have an Ana here. They're back on the Tracer. There's a Sombra as well. Sombra is just on anti-tank duty. Touch has to come through for Ataraxia Virtus. Beautiful stick is going to take out Gala before the fight even begins.
Oh, that is so good. And would you look at that? Skjaldupa Club though is dead as well, so both teams straight out as support, but takes Riox being dead. That is, of course, huge for the Tracer here. Mapsy will fall, though. At least you get Guatemalteco out of that mech, and it should be enough here for the Voices Are Too Loud to maybe push through, but there's still a few members left. And also with a lamp now deployed from Gala, there should be more stabilization. Simonizer will drop into the mines. Wait a second, this is not over yet, because of course there's gonna be the spawn advantage route. Skjaldupa Club gets trapped on point, and remember, down to 23 seconds, there's not much left in the tank here. Doniku with that 2-piece, that's really gonna be very bad for them, but Fever comes back on an orbital ray. Mapsy needs to stay alive here somehow, but will be staggered out. That is exactly what you don't like to see. Simonizer goes in aggressive here, was trying to get a C9 going, but now he's gonna be the target of all aggression of the team of Ataraxia, and this is exactly what you don't like to see. Orbital ray is gonna be deployed, though. Zerial forced into that recall early. Who will still be alive on that point? There's not much to do here. Mapsy will make it back, but can he do something here? Boops Polo into that minefield. Gala is dead as well. No supports left. There is a chance for the Voices Are Too Loud to push this through after all of this, but still those tanks are alive. EMP's out. Hits all three left members. It's only Mapsy who has to touch, but he's alone here, and there's no chance for him to survive. We can crown a champion, and they come from the Spanish Peninsula. Ataraxia Virtus, bien jugado, chicos, y enhorabuena. We have a winner in this tournament, and what a finish this was, Hector. Yeah, let that sink in. Oh.
Twice the Voices Are Too Loud have pulled off a phenomenal hold. First point on Shambali, second point on Midtown. Both times they got a spectacular hold off, and both times Ataraxia Virtus were slightly better. By the margin of meters, these teams were so evenly matched. The 3-0 scoreline does not tell the entire story of this series, but ultimately, history doesn't remember that. History remembers the numbers, and the numbers, they spell Ataraxia Virtus winning the 6v6 tournament.
Yep. The tournament is over, and I'm kind of sad over it, but I'm happy to have seen such spectacular action here on screen. And also for me, as a Spaniard, somewhat Spaniard, I guess, Ataraxia Virtus coming out on top. Well, that is a very special one also. Greetings, of course, to Toniki, who has been streaming this entire matchup here. And, well, let's actually let that sink in. After the scandalous show up yesterday, with the Voices Are Too Loud actually flattening Ataraxia Virtus, but we have to say it was kind of the same as we saw today, just the other way around. Like Ataraxia Virtus, it was still a close match, you know. It was a 3-0 yesterday too, where Ataraxia Virtus actually made a fantastic stand, but they lost. And today, out of all days, the day where all counts, the playoffs, that is where you actually come out on top. What a history. So, congratulations to Ataraxia Virtus for this first place. And they are also getting the biggest cut of that prize pool, which is 400 euros in total for the entire team. So, yeah, and also not to forget, congratulations also to the Voices Are Too Loud to making it to the finals, to actually beating also Ataraxia Virtus on the way. Just not being able to sustain through the revenge. I would say we will send it into a small break and see if we can get some voices for you for the wrap up. And yeah, see you in a bit, guys.
I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only one. No one likes being lied to. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I wanna burn all the bridges between us. I can't focus, I can't forget. I've been thinking too much lately. I just need to clear my head. left me with the pieces. Now I'm gonna burn all the bridges between us. I can't focus, I can't forget. I've been thinking too much lately. I just need to clear my head. 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 I just need to. I just need to clear my head. I just need to. I just need to clear my head. I just need to. I just need to clear my head. I just need to. I just need to clear my head. Can't focus, I can't forget. I've been thinking too much lately. I just need to clear my. I just need to clear my head. Oh, clear my head. I just need to clear my head. I just need to clear my head.
And I've been chillin', watching the ocean with you. Baby, up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our cloudlands when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the mall soon. I know she got the good vibes when seasons change, but we're the same. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. bass guitar, simmer
Hello and welcome back after this fantastic grand final here live on stream. The Mystical Fire Tournament has officially ended with a winner of Ataraxia Virtus from the Spanish Peninsula. And we have a special voice for you here. Bolo has joined us, the main support, the counterpart, the Gala in here. So hello there, Bolo.
Yo. Hi guys.
Well, first of all, congratulations, enhorabuena. For your win in this tournament. And well, it was certainly a spicy one. Please
Yeah,
lead
completely.
us through your thoughts. What's going through your mind right now?
Everyone knows the Voices Are Too Loud team. They are crazy good. They play weird composition, usually with ball and sim. So they are my nemesis. I hate play versus them because they are very good players and very chaotic. So it's a pain to be a support versus that team. So yeah.
Yeah. Now, and obviously, you did play against the Voices Are Too Loud yesterday, and you ended up losing 3-0.
Yeah,
And then you
yeah, yeah.
come back today in the grand finals. You make a statement, 3-0 win. What sort of changed in the team? Was it like a mental thing, or were there any in-game adjustments that you made to sort of, bring it back and win so convincingly?
It's mostly mental, I think, because we know the team and they win us in the Faceit League and a lot of tournaments, so it was a mental thing completely, I think.
hmm That's fair. You just go into it with a good mindset and you win. Now, obviously, you do get your share of the prize pool, 400 euros to you and the rest of Ataraxia Virtus. Congratulations. What do you plan to do with your prize money?
Probably right now, maybe buy a camp or a mousepad, but
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
so
Very
some
nice.
upgrade for the PC.
Good investment. Good investment.
Yeah, for the next tournaments, right? You need to be prepared. Maybe there's something down the line. Who knows?
Who knows?
But one of my most important questions, since this is a very special workshop mode, a 6v6 attempt of some devs in overseas in NA actually. But I would love to hear what you think about this. Did you enjoy it?
I completely did because I love 6 versus 6, but I think the game with the new tanks and new supports it's not good for the game. Like be a 6 versus 6 with a Mauga and Juno. It's complete chaotic because no one wants to play a meta with I don't know Orisa Mauga, Juno, Brick. So I think the game is better now, but the game mode it's awesome. It's almost perfect.
Would you look at that? So, dear devs, I hope you heard that from
Yeah.
Bolo, the winner of this tournament alongside his team, Ataraxia Virtus. And I think to finish this interview nice and dandy, as per usual, I love to give the last words to you, dear Bolo. Do you have anything to say? Do you have anything on your mind for the last words in this interview?
Yeah, completely. I want to play the next tournament you guys will do, and I want the Voices Are Too Loud to be there. And I hope we don't have Gala next time, so will be fair for both teams.
Hmm. All right. Nice.
Yeah. I mean, that guy is an absolute nutcase.
It's a
So
beast.
fair play. Thank you so much for joining us for the interview today, Polo, and congratulations on your win. Congratulations on winning the money. We'll let you get back to celebrate with the rest of your team.
Okay, GG guys.
Gracias, nos veremos. GG, buen jugado.
See you.
Saludos, saludos cordiales.
Saludos de España.
Exactamente.
Yeah. As I said, I haven't spoken Spanish since high school, and I was pretty good at high school Spanish, but that's nowhere near, actual speaking Spanish. So, we'll take it, I suppose. But I mean, yeah, I guess sometimes that's how Overwatch is. They were talking about Polo, of course, talking about the mental side of it, how in game they don't feel that they made that many special adjustments to counter. It's not like they cooked up a brand new composition or a brand new style of play. They just locked in. They stopped getting in their own heads, and when you have that confidence, you just play better. You hit more shots, you use your abilities a bit tighter, your positioning's better, your cooldown management's on point. And I guess that works for Ataraxia Virtus. You know, some of these players are already some of the best in Europe, right? Why mess with that formula?
Exactly, that's the point, which I would also point out that was kind of missing on the part of the Voices Are Too Loud. We heard that they are actually quite well known, and we could see why. These people would have also deserved to win. Like, we would not have been surprised if they would actually be the ones winning this tournament, and that one of them would be in this interview actually talking to us. But I think that kind of failed for the Voices Are Too Loud there in the end, because you could see the desperation in their last acts, in the last moments of this game, where also Simonizer went in alone with that minefield trying to C9. That was a little bit too creative, I would say, for my taste at least. So there is that. But, you know, these are mini decisions. You know, if we would do this tournament tomorrow again or something, who knows? This matchup could end up the other way around. And it's also good to hear from Bolo that he liked the experience and that 6v6 is different. Of course, never forget, this is a workshop code. This is a little attempt to combine the old 6v6 format with the Overwatch 2 environment, with less CCs, with the new heroes. Obviously, there is always some room for improvement. And of course, we will take that away. Also for the devs, maybe to do something about it. Who knows? Maybe they find something like a sweet spot there to provide an answer to these problems that the new heroes might give in the 6v6 format. So we are curious to see that develop. If you liked the gameplay, by the way, we haven't even said it too much today, but this tournament was done not just by the Semper community, but also by the Magic6 Discord. If you liked the gameplay, if you find 6v6 in the version as you saw it here in the tournament exhilarating, fun to play, and you want to try it out yourself, there is a chance for you to do so on the Magic6 Discord. There should be a link going around in the chat. At least I hope so, that it will be posted at some point. And you can always join. There's no rank restrictions whatsoever. Every weekend we'll have some pucks, at least on Saturday. So if you're up for a little challenge, if you're up for something new or even somewhat old, depending on how you see it, make sure you join. But yeah, other than that, has been a fantastic tournament. There is nothing else really to say. We have seen it all. The last words have been spoken. The last games are over, my dear Ekta. Thank you so much for being here. It was fantastic casting with you again after our Class Clash Odyssey. And also greetings to Kuro. I hope your date is going well. And, well, thanks to everyone that has been part of this tournament, to all of our observers, to our mods, to our producers, to the other casters that have been joining us here on the desk, to all the players, to all the teams out there joining us, and of course, to you, chat. Thanks so much for being here and making this a special experience. Ekta, do you have something to say before we end off?
It has been an absolute honor to join. It's been incredibly fun, incredibly chaotic. We've seen some spectacular Overwatch, and no matter what I take away from this, all I want to say is that Simonizer, that guy's an absolute wrecking ball nutcase. And when 6v6 comes back and Ball gets good again, keep an eye on that fella, because I think that they're going to go very, very far. Aside from that, congratulations, of course, to Ataraxia Virtus for their win, for their €400. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you to all the players, producers, cast observers, everyone involved in the running of this tournament. And we'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Goodbye, everyone.
I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only one. No one likes being lied to. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I wanna burn all the bridges between us. I can't focus, I can't forget. I've been thinking too much lately. I just need to clear my head. I just need to clear my head. we don't have to repeat it. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I'm gonna